Regis is right next door to hers. So yesterday she came over and she was telling me that she's never seen anything like it. But they've reassessed, like the centrally assessed, like the power lines and different things like that. And based on how those companies reported income, our mill value is going to go from, which is potentially a good thing. Never heard anything like it before. Our mill value is going to go from 9,500 to like 14,000.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
So that's the good news, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's like amazing. It's we've never heard of anything. Her department and they thought it was a mistake. They went all the way to the state and clarified with the people that are actually doing the centrally assessed that it's not a mistake because it's so huge. They added like $22 million to the value of these essentially assessed people. So that's like crazy. So that would be a great thing, right? The problem lies in the fact that they're going to protest it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that they're going to protest it. If
Right.
somebody increased your taxes
Right.
from your
Yeah.
valuation from 7 million to 22 million,
Uh-huh.
you're going to protest it.
Right.
So that's where the dilemma lies for us, because we could be like, okay, this is great, right? Budget for it, which we will budget. I haven't figured out how to do it. So we're going to be able to levy more money. Our mill value is going to be worth more, so we're going to get more tax money in. But the fact of the matter is, but then they're going to protest it.
So now we're not even gonna get the 7 million. We're gonna be short that many because they're gonna protest the whole amount.
Yeah, they will protest
The entire amount.
and that's how it works. You protest the entire amount. So that's an interesting situation, though. It's like, so I don't know. It's just, I'm just like, wow, just crazy. So we'll see. She's going to get the valuations to us pretty soon, and we can do that. So,
But like you said, we can't count our chicken before they hatch because it won't be a done deal probably till next year.
and it takes Judy Sting was also in my office, and she was saying that, like in the 90s, that happened. Like a whole bunch of people, centrally assessed people protested their taxes, and she was saying it just took so much money out of the county that they had to use all of their reserves. I'm thinking if that were to happen, worst case scenario is we could borrow money from the road fund until it's settled. But the thing is we don't know if it's going to be, if the state's going to win or if they're going to win, and then they won't have to pay. So it's a really, really difficult situation because you know.
Centrally assessed. Does that just include corporations, or what does that mean?
It's centrally assessed or the power lines and things that run through the whole state.
Oh.
So
Okay.
power lines,
Railroads.
I don't know exactly.
Power line, railroad.
Phone lines,
Communication,
fiber
yeah.
optics,
Yeah.
things that run through the whole state and so anyway, so Lois and her boss, it's such a strange thing. They actually want to get on the agenda. They're going to come down and try to explain it to the commissioners because it's so crazy, weird. So she's going to get on the agenda. Has she called?
She hasn't called me. No.
Yeah. So there's that too.
So now we're looking at, so what you're saying is that now the budget's gonna be even shorter?
No. Now I'm saying that people will probably think we're lying to them.
Right. Oh.
People will think we're lying to them again
Right.
because all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
our mill value is gonna. I mean, it's gonna increase by 50%, and that's crazy.
But that's only, since it's only going to be applicable to the centrally assessed communication, it doesn't do anything to the rest of the people. So, I mean, the money is not
So
a full 50%. It's a portion of.
It's a portion,
Right.
but it's gonna affect the schools, huge. So this is why they want to come in, and they actually were gonna have they really want to have like Toots Bricker come in with them
Mhm.
to help explain, or Shirley Mancini. Shirley Mancini was the person who was the clerk
In
the
the
last
90s.
time. There was a whole bunch of money protesters and the effect it had and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's
So-
what they're thinking.
So let's get that tentatively scheduled, and then we can send out maybe an
So
email.
just
Call
call.
Shirley.
No, I would call Lois.
I mean, that's what I meant.
Yeah, call Lois and see when they can come. And
And
then
really, we should invite the schools and,
we should.
Mhm.
All of the schools should be here. And then somebody who really understands protested taxes. So we could invite Mary, but maybe also Shirley or Toots.
Yeah.
Somebody who really has kind of been through that before and they know
Yeah, Toots would be a good one.
she would be great.
okay, I put it on my to-do.
Okay. So anyway, so the preliminary budget as we see it, it's based on an estimate of the mill value being the same, or,
Right.
you know.
But that's what we're gonna have to do, even, even if we find out this is happening, because like I said, it'll be so delayed before we actually receive money.
It can be years,
Mhm.
like 5 years.
Mhm.
So like Verizon,
Mhm.
like all of those are also all centrally assessed
Yeah.
types of things. So, I mean, I would say, you know for a fact they're going to protest it. I mean, 95% sure. I mean, who wouldn't, right? And then maybe 2 years.
Mhm.
Judy was saying the last time that they had something that significant, the legislature actually had to pass a law to get them to settle.
Mhm.
And there were some,
Wow.
and it took years. So keep that in mind
So,
too,
yeah,
I
we have
guess.
to- We have to live within our means until then.
Yeah, even if so all of a sudden, I think what our budget will look like is our revenue really will be much greater than what our expenditures are. Because that tax revenue,
But it won't be a revenue realized.
no.
'Cause, yeah.
So everyone's gonna think,
So are we,
that
are
we're
you,
all
do
lying.
we,
Oh,
do we,
yeah.
do we include that revenue even though it's not realized?
We see that's the thing, right? So
Because that's where you're saying they're gonna say we're a bunch of liars then, when they look at that.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we could, I need to think about it. I haven't thought about it. We could, you
To
know,
me, it shouldn't be counted as revenue unless it's really coming in.
well, they're gonna bill for it, so
Oh,
just like all of the other revenue, we're gonna bill our,
yeah.
so what we could do maybe, I have to see if we can do this, is we could set up a fund, like rather than allocating or
Right.
budgeting for that money, we could budget for it in a special fund.
Couldn't we do a protested taxes line, like we do in the schools? So in the schools, you have a protested tax line
That's a
item.
good idea.
And we anticipate what's gonna be protested, so it's included in our revenues and our expenditures, but it's not money that we can actually spend.
Right.
But it balances
And then
everything.
people can look at that and see, look, this is what we expect.
Yeah,
But
and
it's
then
not
if
even
they-
in, not even in yet because it could be 5 years.
Right. Tom, the Mineral County Commissioners are respectfully requesting a new letter to clarify your intent. The letter we received gave some praises to the Clerk and Recorder of Mineral County, and as you know, we have removed finance from that office and now have a finance officer doing the budget work. Her name is Jessica Conley, and she seems to be performing very well. In fact, I believe you and other auditors have recognized an improvement with our budget and audit since we have hired her, as many have stated that praise to us. If this was in fact the intent of your letter, we are wondering if you might be able to reissue one that conveys your true intent.
That sound
Sounds
okay?
good. Yep.
Okay.
How you doing on the minutes?
I'm just getting started.
I kind of spent some time this morning going back through them, so I'm going to call the Department of Revenue in St. Regis.
So, how far behind are we on the actual official minutes that we sign and put in the book?
I went up and asked and she didn't know.
I think the last one we did were when,
I think we finished all of 15s.
Maybe, yeah.
so right now we're 7 months behind, 6 months.
Mm. And by statute, there's a
21 days.
21 days.
I believe, yes. But, and if there's anything I can do to help, you know, get it done, the minutes are on there. I know I need to go.
And the part about the reserve deputy, you can't use a reserve deputy to fill in an officer's schedule. Like, you know, if Bob was Monday through Friday swing shift, you can't lay Bob off and then have a reserve be Monday through Friday swing shift. That's what the law, but you still can use a reserve deputy like you would at any other time of the year, when there's a fair, or when there's a monster truck show, or whatever, you know, or if there's a shorthanded for, like, you know, Tommy,
So-
Boone both go to the school in Helena,
Mhm.
but you just can't insert a reserve deputy in a regular shift for coverage purposes.
Huh. Well, that,
I didn't wanna bring that up.
I don't know.
It's people not understanding totally the law, you know. You made it sound like you could not utilize a reserve deputy
Well,
at
Marcia read the
all.
law to us, and she interpreted it the same as Tom did.
Well, I know, but you know why. But always been my understanding, you just can't use it to fill that laid off person's void.
void.
Yeah, that vacancy, but you can still use them.
We
Mhm.
have before. I
Mhm.
mean, we,
Not in a RIF situation. A RIF situation, I think what Marcia was saying, and she's not here, but I think what she was saying is because it's a reduction in force, you're basically saying we don't have the money to pay for that person,
but yeah,
but yet we're having a reserve come in and fill and take that position. I don't know. That would be definitely an email question to
Yeah.
Marcia. So did you want me to clarify that?
No, I was just
Okay.
reading the part, that's all right. I mean, I was kinda not so inclined to rip both the probation and the deputy anyway, so I mean, that's what, fine with me, but.
and then ways under Patty Curtin.
I have a new rule for today. I'll tell you about it after we finish the minutes. Okay?
Did you find that one?
Mhm.
Just as Commissioner Johnston.
Well, you are Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, but I mean, then it just says.
It's the end.
Oh.
There's nothing
The end.
else.
Just take that out.
Well, she won't get in trouble that way. There's nothing that follows her name.
Under Glenn Welch.
Mhm.
Flathead County had a knee-jerk reaction instead of a
A new?
knee-jerk reaction. Okay, and then back on the second meeting,
Okay?
it said it should be Commissioner Simons made a motion, and then the motion dies after lack of a second, instead of lack of a motion.
For lack of. Okay?
And down under where I made the motion,
Okay?
it says Marshall will get back with the commissioners on the date, and I don't, what?
What was for the number of days notice, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now it reads, Marcia will get back with the commissioners on the number of days notice
Yeah.
to give employees.
That's all I had. That I can.
Is Stacy in today?
I don't know.
I haven't been.
I
on that
just
floor.
thinking, we haven't had our minutes typed up for 7 months, and she wants to take back doing the minutes. I don't know how she's gonna do it, because she's always so busy.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
We've got, she's coming in on her budget later, we can
Yeah,
ask her that.
I'm just reading this part.
Yeah.
Everybody wants her to
Who's
take back
up
doing the minutes,
first?
but can't even type up the
Kathleen?
minutes.
Mrs. Brown.
Yeah.
Me,
Yeah.
2180, find my page.
Did you find your page okay? Was it hard or did you get it?
Normally, I would just hit print. But I have learned, because some people send me these enormous things, and when I saw one of 60 whatever pages,
You're like, that's not my
I
budget.
took my little mouse away from that button.
I know.
So-
I sent it out. I'm like, okay. I think that everybody can figure this out to like find their fun and print it out. So, and I think there's just maybe a couple people that had trouble.
I think. But you had printed, we had printed those two, last year's and this year's, when I was in there the
Well,
last time.
Yeah.
We can do
so-
your part at 11 if you guys.
I thought, and I thought I'd just give it to you, where highlight and you can fix it.
Sure.
Or anything, so we don't have to try to make you look at the fifth paragraph, second sentence, or whatever.
So I guess we can,
Did you get,
Approve
that's
with
what I needed to do. Do I have a couple
Okay.
minutes or are we about ready?
You have 2.
I need to call Lois.
I called her.
So I was talking, so I calling in a couple other auditors and getting their opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom Hayes, our auditor, says you need to have the press there. He suggests having the press there when the Department of Revenue comes to talk to us.
Mhm.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Hmm.
It's the one time we really would love to have the press here. So
people understand.
yes, so put that on your thing. Let's invite press once
Okay.
we figure out. I thought that was an excellent idea. And then
Who suggested that, you said?
Tom Hayes, our auditor.
Oh.
It's a great idea. I didn't think of
Did
it.
you see the email? I sent out an email. Did you CC Jessica?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
So-
Motion dies for lack of a second.
You
But
have to
anyway,
do that.
and then, oh, you didn't say, I
Yep.
got some little things.
Okay, I'll do it.
But, yeah.
So what are you guys wanting for me for the minutes for, because I looked back, you guys have never sort of done it in this fashion before that I could see.
Oh, for
So-
budget.
So I'm wondering what you guys are wanting me to reflect. I mean, these minutes are gonna, if I do what I normally do, they're gonna be 20 pages long. So I just wanna know what everyone's expectations are.
You can just probably only insert the more dramatic or critical point, otherwise it's basically
Everybody
just-
was present for the
Mhm.
meeting and
Yeah. If
who
there's a
yelled
bone
at
of
who
contention.
and who started crying and, oh, no.
Well, I don't wanna leave something out if somebody thinks it's important. You
There's
need
only
to tell
one
me.
person gonna cry, Kathleen.
Oh, good. That's what she says.
Yeah. Okay, so you want us to approve those minutes now, or you wanna make those changes?
No, we'll make the changes and then we'll do it after, because I don't wanna do that.
Okay, 10 o'clock, budget hearing with the clerk of district court. And Jessica's here, because I don't see any right here in this book.
Okay, so
This one,
Roman,
So let's get you guys all figured out on what we're.
okay, so Jessica, maybe you.
Yeah.
Tina's district
So
court,
let's just
2180.
we'll be pros by the end of this. So
or clerk of court.
Where's that one thing I wanted in the front?
Right there on the, look at, to your right.
Oh. So I would pull this thing out. So this, we all have that, right?
What
Well,
is
this
she
is
looking
kind of
at?
that one, did you print out that third attachment?
That one right there that your hand's on.
Just that overall expenditure. Yeah, so this is just kind of nice. So these will tie to our individual funds.
Mhm.
So and this will also help you determine what fund it is. So when Kathleen comes in, you're like, okay, district
Mhm.
court. District court is 2180.
Mhm.
So you have two tabs.
Okay.
The first thing I think we should go over first with all of the departments is we'll just look at their revenue, to make sure the revenue's reasonable, whatever,
Okay.
and then we'll go to expenditures.
Okay.
So this is all of the funds,
Okay.
so, and they're in numerical order, so we need to go to 2180.
So this first one is revenue, and this one down here is expenditure.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll look at revenue first, and then if we're good with that, if we think it's reasonable, you know, there's nothing too crazy with it. The thing to keep in mind too is this. Like, for example, look at this. Do you see how, say like how the general fund has a huge deficit right now, and district court has proposed ending cash. There's a couple things on here. So I have insert percentages of what we're hoping to at least have in cash at the end of the year, right? So 33% is recommended. Obviously, we're not gonna get to 33% in 1 year.
10%.
So I'm thinking like maybe if we can just have 10% of appropriations, like that would be a good first start, right? Or a first step.
Mhm.
So like for district court, I've budgeted 10%.
Mhm.
So proposed reserves would be 11,000, and that gives us an ending cash of negative 19.
Mhm.
The reason why this top section is separate from the bottom section is because in this top section we can move mills around,
Mhm.
you know? So that's why that top section is different. So in the end, if we decide that the planning board, we don't want the planning board anymore, whatever. We can move revenues.
Mhm.
We can move those mills around in that top section. And so that's what happens. So like oftentimes we'll have to move money back take a couple mills away from Kathleen and give it to public safety to make this year work or whatever. But, so that's the summary of it all. Good? Perfect?
Mhm.
You guys are ready to roll, right?
But, so, the target, we're not gonna meet the 33%, but you got the 10% suggested goal, and then the ending cash, in parentheses, that's a negative.
That's correct.
That's not really 10% cash, is it?
No.
That's
The
a
10% cash is that 11,000 figure.
That's what she's saying, to do that.
Yeah, if we can estimate, if we're gonna try to get 10% of appropriations
Mm-hmm.
as our cash, as our ending cash, or as our
Mhm.
reserve, right? Right now, we would be short $19,000. So that would mean you would need to cut or
Mhm.
add $19,000 to get us to that 11,000,
Okay,
just to have 11,000 at the end of the year.
wow. Ouch.
And those are small, right? I mean, I have 5% in there, maybe. So that's how that is. And then the other thing I wanted to show you guys is, and only you guys have this when it comes to payroll. I didn't give it to the department heads. Maybe I sure could, but, so let's look at your other tabs. So on this payroll fiscal year 17,
Uh-huh.
so it will tie. So we can go down, we can find clerk of court. Did I already pass it? So you'll be like, okay, here's clerk of court. We can see, we've budgeted, so in that expenditure budget, you'll see that 75,000. you're gonna see that under payroll.
Mhm.
And we're budgeting one full-time person for Kathleen and one full-time person for her clerk. And so you'll be able to see what that payroll number consists of, how many people made up that number, how much overtime is in that number.
Does that number, is that just their wage, or does that include their
That's just wage.
retirement? and-
No, that's just, this spreadsheet goes way out here
Okay,
like this, but
okay.
I only gave you just that figure,
Okay.
just their, rate,
Okay.
okay? So, that's good, so when we get to, different departments, we can look at how many
Mhm.
people are there, whatever, right?
Right.
Then, I also did this analysis, cause when we get to the sheriff's department,
Mhm.
it's almost, truly, it's as if they have 3 additional employees with the amount of overtime they pay. And so I did that analysis too, because you'll see huge pieces of overtime here. Like various overtime, 26,000,
Mm.
17,000. So then there's a breakdown of who did what on that, okay?
We've never gotten this kind of stuff in the past.
No, you guys, you guys have lots of good information now.
No, I know.
Yeah.
A lot easier to
Here's this
understand things.
payroll analysis, you can see how it trended up and the departments that it trended up more in.
Mhm.
Should I go make a copy of this? For,
I sent it to everybody,
okay,
but you can make copies just so people that
Got
don't
it.
bring it, yeah.
Is there any way we can get it up on the screen or something I can hold in front of the camera, or?
Yeah, can we hook you
Oh,
up,
this
Charlie?
part?
I think we'll need to,
Is that part you're talking about?
yeah, I can put it up on the
I
screen.
would like
This-
to get the screen up, because I think we'll need it quite a bit throughout the day.
Let me go grab another laptop.
What is this one? I don't know, this is old, I'm not gonna be referring to this at all.
Mhm.
That, okay, there we go.
Okay, gotcha.
Now I. Okay.
Okay, so, have you seen the proposal from Ms. Blount for this year?
Yeah, I haven't, let's look at it.
Or has Ms. Blount handed it out yet?
Oh, yes, I did. There was a deadline on it. I had it in.
You
We even had a
did.
meeting about it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so let's look at 2180. This
Okay, you
is how,
guys are gonna have to give me a minute now if you guys want me to
oh, you can,
take notes and set up a,
Oh,
I think, let's just start with revenue for every single one of them, Roman. Just, you can start there.
so our district court's revenue, the district court, the real estate tax, the personal property tax.
Yeah, and let's just, I just think we should all just look at it together to make sure it's, reasonable, that, when I input your budget, I didn't do a typo and I didn't, that you're okay with the revenue side of it.
Well, the only one I had a question on was the state entitlement share. Because there's something in there every year, but we didn't put anything in there. And it varies from 4,000 to 9,000.
Mm-hmm. So the state entitlement share, that's a revenue source that's that revenue source that the treasurer's office misallocated and was giving it to
Hospital districts, fire districts.
a whole bunch of places and way large amounts, and we had to,
Ask for it back.
yeah. And the thing with the state entitlement share is the commissioners have the discretion of what funds to give it to, and it's gonna go, right now it's being budgeted in the general fund, with
Okay.
the exception of certain special districts that have to receive a minimum amount.
Okay, and that monies that comes from our little portion of all my fees and,
Not state entitlement share, no.
okay, what is that?
State entitlement share is revenue that the state took away. It's more like motor vehicle and different taxes like that. So the state took it away years ago, and then they reallocated it. So you pay it to the state, and then they give it back based on, different things. And it's House Bill like 124 and a whole bunch of different things, but it has nothing to do with your fees.
Okay, where does that money come back? Our little portion of, like, on a marriage license, I don't know how much it is anymore, that comes back to the county for filing of a case, anything but criminal, because we don't charge for those. But where does all that money come back to?
I don't really know. So do they send it back? I don't know. I mean, if it goes back, it's going to the general fund, would be my guess.
Well, don't they pay you directly and you put it in your, who receives the money?
I would assume the treasurer, I have no
Oh.
idea.
Yeah,
I've
so,
never tracked revenue before.
Uh-huh. So the money that she's talking about, the state entitlement money, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so when someone comes in to buy their license plates, and part of the money goes to the state, part to the county, the county that we're in. It used to be that Tewksbury would collect all the money, and then
Get
it
it all.
stayed at the county.
Mhm.
Well, now the state wanted their share to be doled out to them, and then they would give us our part back. So that's what she's, so
And
that's
that's what happened to district court fees too. When they took over all of our expenses, they took all of that.
Mhm.
And then they're sending it back.
Mhm.
So now all of that's going to the general fund. If I have no idea how much that is, that could actually help and offset my budget, depending on whatever that is.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not sure. You could ask, we can find out. I mean, really, I think Mary should know. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar. We could look at the general fund and see if we see a line item there. So if we
In
look,
lieu of that, I think that we should be nice to Kathleen too.
because you're putting money in the general fund, you think?
Yeah, she's
So-
collecting
Well, there's
some revenue.
no other revenue item for that,
Yeah. So
except for, I don't know what the district court fees are.
Yeah.
yeah, so we could look at that as soon as we get Black Mountain up. We can look at a detail of that, because I don't know what they are either. I mean, if you don't know, I really don't know. So we can pull that up and look at that
Okay.
and see. Maybe it will have more detail, and we can.
I don't have a lot of revenue. This is not.
That's
rocket
nothing new.
science. Yeah.
It's nothing new. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you don't have a lot of revenue.
Maybe you can sell candy bars on the counter there.
Yeah.
No, because I will end up buying them myself, and then my health insurance will go up.
That's
because
right.
I will
Let's
be
get Black
obese
Mountain
and I
up,
will
too.
need some sort of operation.
Right.
It snowballs.
How about just on district court day when all those people are in the hall board and sell the candy bars in?
How that could be.
Okay.
Okay, so Charlie will work on pulling up the Black Mountain, and then we can look at that detail and see what we can find out on what district court fees are, what they are made up of, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so while Charlie's working on that, should we go to expenditures?
Okay. Again, 2180, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So other than a few small cuts that I can still make in the budget that I handed out to you, the only other thing I can think of, and I don't know how The accounting portion works behind the scenes, things like my criminal jury expenses.
Mhm.
For the most part, they are reimbursed by the state. We need to budget because we're spending the money, but it's reimbursed. 95% of that is reimbursed. So I don't know if it's something that you want to worry about or not worry about, or if it has to be budgeted, or what you want to do. Most of the categories relating to legal services and that kind of thing are reimbursed by the state. So,
Did you budget revenue for it though? Isn't it on both sides already?
we did.
Yeah, so we already have the
I think
budgeted
we-
revenue and the budgeted expense, so it's,
It's equaling. out.
yeah,
Mhm.
it,
Well, we did 5,000 for revenue, and I've
Mhm.
got I've got 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I mean, if everything is included, it's much higher.
Everything included.
Everything as far as, I've got 7,000 for criminal, jury, witnesses, and everything else. And then I've got 3,000 for civil, so that's 10,000 there. And along with civil witness fees and stuff like that, so that's 11,000, and we've actually put 5,000 in reimbursable.
oh, okay, so you're saying that all of that 11,000 potentially is reimbursable. So maybe we should change that then from 5 to 11, so it really is more reflective, don't you think?
Yeah. Now, some of the others, as far as my legal services for bailiffs, for civil trials, like I said, for the most part, that stuff is reimbursable. Translators, I always have to budget for translators, so that could be another $1,500 added to that as well.
So which ones are
So-
reimbursable? So
So 410, 322.
the 7,000,
Mm-hmm. And 410, 325.
500,
Mm-hmm.
And 410, 332.
8. Psychiatric exams?
No.
What was it again?
410, 332 jury services.
Oh, okay, the 3,000.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then 333.
We're gonna need a calculator in here, I think, today.
We got one right there.
Okay. Go good.
That's why I brought my phone. And 410, 334.
Okay, so all of those are reimbursable.
And I would do maybe 90 or 95% reimbursable, because there's gonna be some that the state is not going to allow.
Cause that's 12.5 right there.
Yeah, so 12,500, but only at 95%, you think?
I think.
So 11,250.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're thinking we're gonna change the 5,000 to 11,250. Okay,
Okay,
that's good.
all right.
That makes more sense. Yeah, there's not a whole.
Yeah, that's all I got for you.
That's that's all you. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're one of those easy funds, really. I mean, not a whole bunch of.
I know.
Okay, let's look at where's yours? Right here. Let's go to do a detail ledger query on the revenue. Then see what's in this
So
revenue
we
one?
highlighted our reimbursable, that's 7, that's 500. And then it ends up being
yeah.
12.5 and only 95% is truly reimbursable.
You know, 0750 the whole year, 0715.
250.
and do account number 2180. Or, yeah, account, good. 341050. And we'll see what's in there. I think these are fees that, well, I don't know. Can you make it, can it go bigger, Charlie? I can't see it.
Okay, district court collections for. Okay,
So a lot of
those-
this is coming off of your collection report.
Exactly,
And then,
and that's what the treasurer does, those are my, okay, child support, yeah, we make $2 a month on Dr. Park still. Don't get excited. Okay, so those are, our portion of the fees for, that I give to the treasurer.
on your
Yeah.
collection report.
Yeah.
But if you're saying money comes back to you from the state for some things, or,
And maybe this is just a calculation that it's automatically done and the treasurer
well, if it's
doesn't send it off.
whatever is on that collection report. I mean, if you really want to know what's happening, you just need to look at your own collection report.
Mhm.
It tells you exactly where all of the
Mhm.
money goes.
Yeah,
And like I said, that is dictated by the judges or something, and to get permission to change it, you have to
Well,
get their
that's-
permission or
that's
something,
the
right?
legislature.
Okay.
It's all by statute.
By statute,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, so
Yeah,
whatever's
nobody
on
has
that
a
collection
choice.
report. But if you're saying money comes into the county from the state, and we don't know where that money goes, then you could research it.
I will. I will, just to see if there's anything else.
So like other people, like you said, there's marriage licenses they pay you for, and what else?
Civil filings, appearance fees, just.
That they're paying you for directly?
Mhm.
Oh, then you know where all that money goes. You just need to look at your collection
Mhm.
report.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Send that to me.
Send what to you?
Print that page.
This page? Send it to you?
Okay.
So just ask Nicole, she can run you a detail ledger query. Tell her you want a detail ledger query on that account,
Okay.
and she can run it. It's easy.
Sorry.
No luck here.
Because I'm on the cloud. I don't have it hooked up to.
Gotcha.
But she can, yeah, Nicole can do it for you. I'm gonna go get, my water. I'll be right back.
Here. So they can't do a better deal putting all the machines together.
Oh,
So my question is, do we just continue and do the maintenance agreement and just,
hope that
What
nothing
do you think of
happens.
that?
I think it's fine.
Where is that coming out of now?
my supplies? I share it with the county attorney. We each
Oh.
pay 50%, so it's 500 apiece.
Oh,
You wanna stick this somewhere else, you're more than welcome.
I just wanted to see where it was.
What do
I
you
think
mean
there
by
should be,
stick it
this should go
somewhere?
into data processing.
I don't think so.
I think so.
At least
So
one
it's-
day.
it's
Where do
just
all
your-
the rest of them come out
It's
of?
just clerk of
Individual
court
budgets?
supplies.
Okay. Are you telling me the truth?
I totally am.
Okay.
They all come individually.
Okay. I'm just checking.
I just don't understand why my thing isn't working. I
Okay,
put it
so
away and take care of it.
I will have Marcia sign off on that and we'll just,
Keep doing it.
yeah. We'll just.
So
have the
Marcia
same
should have
discussion.
$500 too. Is it just with all of your other supplies?
Yes, yeah, it's not a separate line item,
Okay, so it's part of the 4,000.
yeah. Okay,
You got it.
my next question. 2 years ago, you guys okayed the cabinet in my jury room. Okay? It was supposed to cost $800, $350 I was gonna cover, Roy was gonna cover the balance. Now, I don't even know, the cabinet finally got done. And I don't even know about that room up there. Mark said that he talked to you guys and he was then gonna do refinishing of the wood and paint and all this stuff. I don't know anything about it. I assume it's coming out on maintenance or something. I don't know how much it has cost or anything. So, all that being said, I still need blinds in that room. He took the dirty, broken blinds down. They're in the bathroom in there, along with paint cans and stuff, all in that little bathroom. So I need to know if we're ordering blinds or if I need to just go down myself and buy blinds.
Well, Roy said something the other day to me about needed to get some blinds, but I just kinda said, well, we need to get blinds up there, but I think we don't need to
Yeah,
get
Roy
super
has-
duper,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, just get the cheapest blinds you can get, just something to block the sun,
Well, I need
or
the metal
whatever.
or wood. I don't
Right.
need the plastic because they break. So,
Roy should get blinds. He has budget to
Yeah.
maintain the entire courthouse,
Yeah.
so it doesn't, it seems like an easy thing. He should get them for you.
Just get them out. Yeah,
Okay.
and they'll come out of his.
so have we gotten a bill for Mark's work up there?
I didn't know I thought that he was like, wait until he did he start doing work actually? Cause,
Yeah, it
It's-
was going on, I don't know, forever. But he said that he came down and talked to you guys. He says everything's fine. I'm gonna do this, and he redid all, stripped down the doors and polished brass. I mean, all I wanted was the cabinet to get rid of all that junk in there. And
You-
this is what we discussed 2 years ago.
And that part's still not done.
No,
so
the
really,
cabinet's
it's all
done.
it's really all
So
a
it's all-
Roy
it-
thing.
It's done.
So Mark Grimm, he's in Roy's budget, and so Roy manages Mark. Roy's the one that will say what projects that he wants Mark to do, and so Roy is in
This-
charge of Mark.
He didn't go through Mark.
Yeah,
I mean, he
but
didn't
that's
go
how it
through
needs-
Roy.
Yeah, but that's how it needs to be from now on. Roy's now aware of that.
Good.
That this is this is your budget.
Mhm.
You are in charge of your budget. That means you're in charge of Mark, and you're in charge of those special projects.
Okay, good.
So he's aware of that now. That's how it should be. So that's it.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. So you wouldn't, if somebody wants something done, they really won't come to the commissioners and say, I need to have, I need to have a new chalkboard or something.
I would assume I would go to Roy and Roy
Roy
would come
comes
to
to
them.
us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
right. If
Yep.
he thinks he needs to, he would go to the commissioners.
Okay,
Otherwise, he would just approve it.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
I was
how that
just-
should work.
I was just curious. I still don't have hooks up. All that stuff is still piled in the bathroom.
Okay.
I
You
mean,
go
it's
to Roy and
just-
then.
Okay, cool.
So it looks like
And then-
materials
and
was
then
only
I guess if nothing gets
$155.
Then maybe mention to us.
But
and
it's
then we
not
can
done still?
Then
Okay,
discuss it with Roy.
okay. All right. Well, it looks nicer. I mean, having all those old shelves and, all the stuff is actually behind doors now. But, yeah.
Okay, yeah. We'll do it that way. You can discuss it with
Who's
Roy,
next?
and then if nothing gets done, then maybe
Special
mention it
districts
to
and
one of
permissive
us,
medical
and then
levy.
we
Okay,
Oh,
Cool.
me.
can follow up on it.
all right.
See, that was painless. Mrs. Brown, anything that I should have in the
I'm-
minutes for reflection?
I'm very conscious of my budget at all times. So, and the only other thing in my budget, when we do budgets, and I don't expect this to happen this year, but in the past, we do a budget. I sign the budget. I discuss with whomever. Last year, I think it was just Cindy. And then 6, 7, 8 months later, when I actually get a copy of my expenditures and whatever it is, and one of the line items is changed from what I assumed it was, I know, I shouldn't assume, then it'll go over. My travel budget, which I keep right about $1,700, that's all my trips to Missoula, that's convention, that's all those things. And here, I'll even tell you. Oh, I don't have it totaled. I bet this year it's about $1,625. Because I know what I have coming and where I'm going. Not necessarily all the trips to Missoula, but, and then I don't always do my mileage to Missoula, because if I can schedule that same day, a doctor's appointment or something else, then I don't worry about it. If it's just where I have to go in for a 3-hour hearing, then I do. So, but that's why that fund is over, because it was, I assumed it was still 1,700 and it was dropped to 700.
Oh.
So let's, I think the commissioners, you may want to make this statement at every single session, that this is a preliminary budget hearing, so this does not mean this is your final approved budget.
But this is after I signed it and
Oh, I
we
know,
had a
that's,
meeting.
but, yeah, that was, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But just to be clear, I think we should tell everybody who comes in that this is our preliminary budget hearing. This is not your final budget, there will be changes. And then let's get our date set, so we
August
can,
12th.
It won't be 7 months down the road.
At
They
1
can
o'clock.
find out.
That
Yeah.
will be
August
fast.
Yeah, we're gonna
12th
not
at
be doing that
no,
anymore.
one,
because
that's a
August
work
12th.
session.
Yep,
That's-
August 12th at 1.
Okay,
Last year,
And August
That's
26th
why
at 1.
we
Yeah.
got Jessica. is
and August 26th.
Because
We
when
had
I,
to do something.
when I got that and I thought, okay, there's no way that I can.
And then
do
on
you know what,
September
and sometimes
2nd.
some changes were even made that we didn't know about. A mill would get moved here
September
or there.
2nd
and
is the
I found out,
final budget
You can't
approval.
do that.
Final,
No,
okay. Very good.
Okay.
And on August 26th, it's at 1 too, you said, right?
Yep.
So you guys, so the date you would want to give would be on August 12th at 1 o'clock, we're having a work session, a budget work session. And, you know, changes will be made there. And then also August 26th at 1 o'clock will be our final work session.
26?
August 26th, and then September 2nd, we'll be approving the final budget.
And was that on their final budget?
Mhm.
September 22nd?
No, September 2nd.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
August 12th at 1, August 26th at 1, September 2nd is,
Final budget?
right, and,
So we only care about final budget approval unless we're called in here.
yeah, and some people just like to sit in and see what the changes are or whatever, but that's the schedule. And then, so on September 2nd,
You will know September 2nd how much money you have to travel on.
Good.
right,
I prefer not for them to set anything in Missoula.
Yeah.
I prefer that to happen, but in the interest of quick justice, it doesn't always happen. I don't really have that much control. I just think I do. Okay, it was nice seeing you guys.
Yeah, whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
But I do appreciate your politeness.
didn't make me cry.
My feelings are so
For some reason, I don't think that they are.
they are.
Budgets.
Mhm.
Did the department heads, did they put in for raises in those?
They may have. I guess they did. They proposed all sorts of new rates and different things, but this preliminary budget is at a freeze with
Right.
no.
Oh, so you,
Okay.
so.
So I redid every single person's payroll, and it will all tie
Except for the
to that
sheriff-
one, those
Sheet you gave
spreadsheets.
In the back.
Except for the sheriff's office, you put as what?
We did put as 1081 for the sheriff's office, because everybody will be bumped up there, even according to the last contract. the contract they're all working under now for detention or dispatch or something. Because the ones who are
I mean,
996.
nothing's been approved.
No, but even according to the old contract, the old one that they're still working under, that's 2 years old at this point. After so long, they go to that 1081 or whatever. They go from 996 to 1081 or something like that. So 1081 is in their budget. It's the only increase in the entire.
You mean
It
only
has to
for
be-
the handful of those jailers that had not yet been bumped
That's
up to
correct.
that? But as far as the 70-cent raises, they are not included.
That is correct.
So
Nothing.
this negotiation, we're still ongoing. We might have to overhaul that budget once it's finally done, finally.
This budget. So I want to see where we're at
Mm-hmm.
before we decide on any rate increases. This is at a freeze. This is assuming a freeze,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of the people that get to go from 996 to
1081.
yes, which was like 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look on your payroll spreadsheet,
Okay.
everybody's at 1081 is the minimum.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Well, didn't that, Roy's helper, wasn't after 6 months, she was supposed to get 50 cents?
For probation, yeah.
When she's
yeah.
off her probation, she'll go.
So
She'll be
we
an
would-
even 10. She should be
Yeah.
there.
So I think right now they're probably at 950.
Yeah, she is. She won't come off that for another 2 months.
Yeah, but I mean, she will
Yeah.
get, because it was in her,
Eventually.
when we hired her,
Mhm.
when she was off probation, that she'd get that.
Right, and so we have to. I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we have to do that. So, so maybe I could change that one.
Hers would be the only one,
That you can think of. So let's see.
right? I think she was.
Yeah, I
only
have her
one.
at 950, but maybe change her to 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because after 6 months probation, she was to go to 10.
Oh, yeah. 2 more months, she'll be at 10.
Okay, so we'll do that. And you guys can see in there too. Like if you were to go, you can see her at 950. Okay, so how long do I have?
You have
15.
until
15.
11:30.
Oh, I
You have
haven't-
until 11:30.
Oh,
Yeah,
No.
because we. didn't
Oh.
have
oh,
anything
11,
at
11:30 we're
11, so,
available.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do special districts first. We have 3 special districts. We have maintenance district number 2, number 3, and number 4. You'll see them, their funds 2420, 2430, and 2510. They're the West End Lighting District, St. Regis Lighting District, and the St. Regis Park. And the St. Regis Park, I was never able to get information from the clerk and recorder's office to confirm the fact that they levy 5 mills. So I'm just assuming, I've talked to some people that used to work here years ago, and they also agree that it's 5 mills, but there's nothing to support it. So I just went with 5 mills. I just want to be clear on that there's nothing that can be found in the clerk and recorder's office to.
And they're District 3, maybe 2430?
2430. Let's see. I don't know. I can't remember which one's what. I'd have to go look at the fund. Are they?
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
guessing
let's
they've
go.
got-
We'll go look at
they've got
revenue first.
27,000, so I imagine that's them.
Yeah.
Did you say 1, 2, and 3?
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4.
Oh, well, District number 4 has quite a bit of money.
So let's look at yeah, let's see.
Because one of these was getting the state entitlement share also,
Yeah.
21.
So
25.
these guys do get state entitlement share. You'll see in the budget. So let's go. Let's start from the top. Let's look at 2420 first.
Okay.
I don't remember which one's what. I might have to go get my cheat sheet. Trying to think if I have anything that helps me out here. Let me get my cheat sheet. I can't remember which one is what district.
Poor Kylie.
Kylie Dana?
My kid, she's
Oh.
so sick.
That's strep throat.
When are you coming home?
Okay, so we'll start with number 2. Number 2 is the Salties Lighting District, or West End Lighting District. Now this maintenance districts are kind of funny. So by statute, you levy whatever you need. It's not a set number of mills. It's not a set dollar amount usually, except for the St. Regis Park. But these 2 lighting districts, they're done, it's just whatever you need. So Salties is funny, they've levied the same amount year after year after year. They have so much money in there, they don't need to levy anything this year. So if you look at 2420, you'll see that real estate taxes, the budget is 0. Because we don't need to levy, we have plenty enough cash in that fund already to pay the lighting district, the lighting utility bills. So, and that's just never really been looked at. So if you look at that fund, so nothing will be levied for that fund.
Who manages that one?
Well, nobody really. I don't think there's a board. I mean, maybe years ago there was a board, and
Mhm.
same with St. Regis. There used to be a lighting district board, and there isn't anymore. So, and the maintenance, this lighting district is a special district, and it is required to get state entitlement money. And so that $20, that's the minimum amount that we're supposed to give them. And so we're going to budget $20 and give them the $20. Okay. And that's really it for that fund. We can go, and they get some investment earnings based on their cash. And we can look at the expenditure side. Expenditure side, it's just a utility bill.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. So that's 2420. 2430 is the St. Regis Lighting District. And this one has completely the opposite problem. So this one, St. Regis has added lighting to their lighting district over the past several years. They've never adjusted the mill. So if you look at this spreadsheet, they started the year with $12,000 negative cash because they've never levied enough to cover the utility bills.
I'm looking on the revenue, where's the 12 negative? Oh, this one here.
This one has everything to do with our cash.
Okay.
So go down to 2430. You'll see they started the year with negative 12,000 because that's what they have as of June 30th.
Mhm.
They simply have not levied enough. So we have to levy, we have to go from, I think we have to like quadruple the amount of mills that we levy to get caught up. So you,
Well, did the resort board add on the extra lights, or who?
the lighting district did.
And do they have a viable board?
They did.
They did?
When the lights were approved, yeah. So I remember the
But
last.
I mean, how about, as far as the additional, that's probably where they got carried away, was they added lights without adding any,
So they didn't get carried away. The clerk and recorder did.
oh.
So they can add lights.
Mm-hmm.
They can do whatever they want to do, that lighting
Mhm.
district. Nobody has added a light since there hasn't been a board. The last time they added lights was when they added them down the 135. We added a bunch of lights down there, and there was a board at that time. It was Frank Simpkins and John Cheeseman and somebody else. They approved it.
Yeah,
They made the clerk and recorder aware of it. The new bills would come in. They were aware. She was aware of it. Mills were never adjusted to reflect anything. So
So the clerk and recorder was made aware of the addition of
she was
lights
Mm-hmm.
and failed to
increase the mills
increase the
accordingly.
mills.
Yeah, year after year, right? I mean, this didn't happen in one year.
Mhm.
Every single year you look at a maintenance district and
Mhm.
you say, how much money am I going to need this year?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you levy. It's
Mhm.
that simple. It's never been looked at. They just have levied the same thing year after year. Even though that district has grown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's district number 3.
So what you're saying is that
So
you're-
look at it, so you'll see, right? So look at, if you go to 2430 on the revenue side,
Mm.
in the past, we've gotten, like 5,000, 5,800,
Yeah,
26,000.
is what they need.
And at 26,000, it will leave us cash at the end of the year of $102. Okay? And let's make sure I have state entitlement. I do have state entitlement in there. That's good. We
Yeah.
have to have it in that fund.
1,500.
Yep. Nope, 370 is,
Oh, gotcha.
370.
What was I looking at? That
you were
was-
looking at last year's budget, which
Oh,
just never got changed or updated or whatever. But the amount that we have to give them is 370.
Okay.
We'll budget 370. And then if we go look at the expenses for 2430,
Yeah, 14,000.
yep, you can see. And I just budgeted last year's actual. It could even be a little more, but
Yeah.
best guess, I think. So that's maintenance district number 3. And then maintenance district number 4 is the St. Regis Park. And the St. Regis Park, that's the one I was saying that, that's the one that's 5 mills. So we can look at that. The park is in fine shape. They manage their budget pretty well. So they started the year with 17,000.
mhm.
Proposed revenues are 24,775. They should end the year with 8,570. So there's not a whole lot really to say about the park.
Mhm.
You can look at our revenues. They get state entitlement, so that should be there.
Mhm.
And that's all. I think that's all I have on the park.
Do you have to give them the 5 mils? If they are already,
That's the part I don't know. I do not know. I cannot get Judy Sting, Kathy Jasper, people that I trust. They said it's always just been 5 mils. We've just levied 5 mils.
And
That-
and that's,
But it's not supported. I cannot get anything to support that.
that 5 mills is assessed only on the people in that district.
That's correct. Yeah, but I can't get anything to support that number. So I just want it on the record that I tried to get something to support that and could not, because if the auditor comes and if they were to say, hey, I need support for, why did you levy 5 mils? I do not have anything to give him.
There's nothing like in the minutes or,
Well, I don't know. I've been trying to get that information for 2 months from the clerk and recorder, but
there wasn't anything as far as what
Can-
I have access to.
yeah.
I could,
Oh, it's old.
I mean, now all the minutes supposed to be, you can't type in.
They're supposed to be on that.
St. Regis Park or Maintenance District 4 and it won't bring.
I
in
really
the
think she
minutes.
needs to find that. That is the
Yeah.
clerk and
That's hers,
recorder's
yeah.
job.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
not Charlie's job.
Mhm.
We need to make sure people are doing the jobs they're supposed to do.
Right.
It's her job. That's her main thing, is to keep records. She needs to find it. Or not. But either way. Okay. So those are the maintenance districts. On the permissive medical levy, any questions on those?
No?
No. I think St. Regis will be thrilled when they see their mills for their lighting district.
yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, that we should do, if the people we could ask the resort board if they would be interested in paying some of that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So we could. So we could send an email to me. Yeah. Say, hey, would you guys be interested in
Sign Jessica.
Oh, are you on the resort board?
I do all their accounting.
Oh,
So, but we could do that. I mean, if we don't feel comfortable, or we could, you know, we could try to make it up over a couple years instead of that big,
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a big shot, and everyone's gonna be mad at us when it's really the clerk's problem.
correct. So we could look at doing that different. We don't have to do it that way. We could do half now and then see if maybe the resort board
Mm.
wants to pick up the rest. Or,
Mhm.
so you guys can, you don't have to decide now, I guess. But unless I hear otherwise, I guess I'll just continue this way, I don't know.
Well, I think that it would be a good idea to at least send something to the resort board and,
Mhm.
you know, before we do any final budget stuff, to
Mhm.
see if they would be willing to pick up some of it.
At least some of the deficit,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
then we could just
Yeah.
levy the,
Mm-hmm.
The
what we
new
need
amount.
every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Send me an email. Asking for us to pay
Ha.
$12,156.84. Okay, Chatty. Okay. All right. And then we have the permissive medical levy. And so the permissive medical levy, it's we're all familiar on the permissive medical levy.
We're all familiar.
Okay.
And
So
we have lots of ideas to help us next year.
so let's look at so Fund 2372.
Mhm.
And if you guys think there's a better way to set up these books, let
Nope.
me
I
know.
like
This
it.
is great.
It's good.
Yeah.
So if you go look at the revenue on 2372, you'll see, so what we get to levy, and this is gonna change, because I think there was a couple part-time people in my count that shouldn't have been on that bill learning later after this was printed. So this will change a little bit. But anyway, how it works is we're actually gonna levy about $338,000 to pay for health insurance. In addition, that still falls short. So down below, we're gonna transfer $32,480 roughly from PILT to cover that difference.
Are
And
you
like
in the
I said,
expenditures part, Jess?
no, I'm just on the revenue side still.
Mhm.
And that, like I said, that may change because I was basing that information off of a Mako bill. And on that Mako bill, it was discovered later that they had, I think 4 people on there that shouldn't have been on there. So that will change. And on the expense side, it's just pretty straightforward. It's all, it's all health insurance. Maybe you can just see it all by.
Did you say 338 is what we were gonna be permissively levying, that 338, 136?
Yeah, but it's gonna change. I don't know if you wanna
Okay,
put
I
it
will.
in there. Like I said, it was based off of a bill that wasn't correct, so that's it.
By our reduction in force, has from what the
Well,
current budget,
it's interesting. So, according to how you can levy for it, it's what the employee count you had on July 1st.
Oh,
That's
So I
get this done.
I was including them because it helps.
mm-hmm.
okay,
It helps in that tax amount, right?
right.
So that's what I did.
And next year, we're really going to have to look at this and, make some decisions on that plan,
Mhm.
and what's being paid. I did try to,
Well, the 3 health insurance companies in Montana all raised their rates.
Yeah, 60-some%.
Blue Cross did 62%.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It was in
Yep.
yesterday's paper.
Yeah.
I think I saw the heading for that. You're kidding.
It's like
So-
64%.
So when people were here saying, we need to shop around, there's cheaper insurance, I really doubt that there is.
No, and Mako has a lot of plans that we can choose
Yeah.
from.
Mhm.
You could just go to a lesser
We
plan.
can go to a lesser, there's a lesser plan that's
Well,
almost,
it's the one that I'm under.
and it's basically the
Mhm.
same exact thing, it
Still,
just
it
changes
is-
people's deductible from
Yeah.
1,500 to 2,000, and it's about $300 less per
Mhm.
month.
Mhm.
What did we say? It was like 80,000 a year?
It was an
Mhm.
$80,000 a year savings, so, I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
it-
we'll look at that.
maybe look, but can't do anything bad.
I saw Tim raise an eyebrow, he is listening.
Yeah,
You go to the hospital and pay that deductible and go through the insurance, and you'll have a different perspective on
why? That's what I have. That's what I'm used
that.
to.
I had an accident, went to Lake County and had to have a scan and everything else like that. It cost me $4,000 out of pocket.
Did they not cover it or what? I don't know anything
I
about
don't-
your health insurance.
Yeah,
I-
well, they argued back and forth, and
Oh, like it
Mako
wasn't an
and-
allowable.
Healthcare Trust and the hospital, they went back and forth. 6 months later, they finally all got together and agreed, we really don't know. And I said, well, good, I'm not paying any more money, if that's okay, then
Hmm.
we're settled. But it cost me a lot of money out of that pocket because of that deductible was like, no, it's this, no, it's this, no, the deductible could cover is this. No, it doesn't cover that, it covers it, they just argued back and forth. And it is not straight how those deductibles work. You need, if the employees know that, this is gonna be covered and this is not gonna be covered, that's one thing, but you get your insurance and you think that you go to emergency room and you're gonna have coverage. It don't
Well-
work that way.
Well, no, and because a lot of it depends on if they're a preferred provider, if they,
Right.
Well, you don't get to select a
I know.
provider when you have an emergency, when you.
no, and
It's
that's
horrible.
that's one of the things that Shelley talked about when she was here, is trying to get,
Yeah, insurance in general is.
pain,
Yeah.
it's a pain.
They always change rules on the extreme anyway, so no
Mhm.
matter who you're with.
Okay. That's all I have.
That's it?
Really?
Well, for that
Oh,
section,
that one.
I'm sure I have more later. Or I have
The
more.
other section was,
So
oh yeah, that's it.
we're free until 11:30.
Public comment.
Yeah, you can put on there.
Okay.
Cool.
What's the letter look like? Click or open? Okay. No, I don't think we, yeah. Finance department, okay. Well, that's a little better.
Yeah.
Of what Jessica sent in an email to me, some big PDF reports. And that's about all I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we visited her in her
Oh,
office a couple
oh, okay.
times and communicated by email. And from my understanding, Jessica did a lot of research on our behalf, which we're very thankful for. Not only talking to the commissioners, but to the state and everything else about basically withdrawing the money we have in your account with us.
Right.
Which has been done, and we just got a check for that about a week ago.
Uh-huh, okay, good.
And that was a very pleasant thing that we could do that, because we've kind of suffered in this dual accounting
Right.
system
Mhm.
where we have our historical society funds,
Yeah.
and as treasurer, trying to report why we have two different
Yeah.
amounts, and now that we're more or less consolidated,
Mhm.
when I say more or less, we left a small amount in, Jessica thought that might be a good idea in case there's some sort of idle charge, like long distance telephone.
Right.
Mhm.
Whatever, but my understanding is that we will be able to draw, if we get any, mill levy, on a semi-annual basis,
Mhm.
receipts. So, I mean, I think that's gonna be good for everyone in terms of simplicity. Yeah.
Well, it keeps it a viable account.
Mhm.
So I was
Well, it
just
just keeps it
thanking you.
consistent. It's consistent across with other entities that are similar to yours, so
Mhm.
it just makes it actually easier.
Yeah, and, you
To
know, I'm
be
involved
more-
with the senior citizens, and I knew
Right.
that's what they've been doing all along, is like, why
Yeah,
are we
you guys
doing
are the
this
same.
differently? And,
So
yeah, that's
it's,
kinda what prompted it.
it's
Yeah.
better.
to Laura.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're very pleased with that, and, you know, now that we kind of have where we can see it all in one spot. And as I was saying, Jessica, of course, I waited till the time you were out of the room, that I thank you again for all
Oh.
your work and,
Thank you
getting
so much.
that
Yeah,
actuated, so, yeah.
yeah, you're very welcome.
Yeah. And so as far as, I guess the purpose of this meeting is to talk about mill levy percentages for the upcoming
Yeah, so
year.
are you asking for a little bit of a mill this time?
We are sheepishly asking for a little bit of mill levy.
Mhm.
We obviously know there's been serious difficulties.
Mhm.
Anyone who reads papers knows funds are extremely short.
Mhm.
But we also, just to make sure, reminded of a little bit of history, we've had 2 years where we were given 0%, and due to just things being overlooked
Mhm.
overlooked is our understanding.
Jim, I'm sorry, are you
Yeah.
the board chair?
I am the treasurer of the
Oh.
Historical Society,
Okay.
and by virtue of that position in my big mouth, I have to do most of the talking. But
feel your
I
pain.
should mention that Kay Strombo really is the heart and soul of the
I'm just
museum.
curator and secretary.
So she can jump in at any time too. Yeah, and I believe, go ahead, Jessica.
I wanted to, do you remember us talking about that state entitlement share?
Yes,
And how it was misallocated and really you wouldn't be getting it in future years?
yes.
So I want you just to consider that when you're out talking to the public or whatever, that really, we gave you $4,000 last year that we shouldn't have. So it is in a sense, I mean, they did give you money, it's almost, you know, that's almost $500,000. But just think about that, because they shouldn't have given it to you, right? Because you won't get it again, it was allocated wrong. But just to think about it, just so you know.
Well, I suppose that's one way of looking at it, and I guess maybe I'm a little confused by what you're saying, or maybe I'm just slowly coming around to your way of thinking, but that was money that was misallocated. That was money that should have been coming to us at some point. It just so happens that it came during this last year. Is that correct? or
No, when I say misallocated.
Okay, please explain.
Right, when I say misallocated, the museum fund should never necessarily have gotten state entitlement money. It was budgeted there in error last year. And because it was budgeted there and budgets were approved that way, we went ahead and allocated it that way. But it was based on a budget that was approved incorrectly. They budgeted $4,000 to the museum, rather than going back and trying to call all of these different funds and tell these people, the budget was done wrong, they shouldn't have budgeted state entitlement money for you, and take it back. It was decided just to pay it. But you will
Well-
not have it going forward, and that wasn't
That I
a,
understood.
and it's not a correction that you should have had the money years ago, and that
Yeah.
wasn't the case.
And Jessica, actually, it wasn't budgeted, it was just misallocated.
No, that was in previous years.
Oh, okay.
In last year's budget, they budgeted for it again.
Oh, and then, okay.
And so we followed the budget. So we gave them what was
Have to repay
budgeted
that?
in error. No,
We decided not, we
Well-
are asking for it back from the other entities that
Right.
got even more than that, but we
Yeah.
decided to leave you guys alone.
Oh, and
does
does this
that,
have to do, and sorry to bring this, that whole hospital thing?
Yes.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't understand.
That's state entitlement money also. That was a different mistake. There's two mistakes going on with state entitlement money. One was in fiscal year 14 and 15, too much money was given to other entities, and we collected it back.
Not budgeted, but given away.
Actually given. This was in 14 and 15. They gave too much money away. The county had to get it back from from the special districts, from hospitals, and what wasn't the county, we didn't request it back from you, because you're a special revenue fund. We requested it back from other districts, from fire departments, cemetery districts,
Okay.
all of these outside and.
And I guess I didn't understand exactly
So
what
that
you were
was one
saying
error.
to explain
The
it.
second
Yeah.
error was, when they did the budget for last year, they budgeted for it again in these funds. And so for the ones that were in our county funds, we left it that way, because we can actually allocate to our county funds if we so choose, but it shouldn't be. I mean, it's just.
Okay, yeah, and I
So
just had
two
a vague-
mistakes,
yeah.
that's why, but in the end, because of that, you got $4,000 you
Yeah.
shouldn't have even gotten, so
Okay.
in a sense, you guys should be like, this
Oh,
is,
we are.
Right.
yes,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
so, right, yeah, so on
Right.
one hand, thank you very much.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you've maybe taken a little steam out of our sails, in terms of asking for something this year. So, but I will just, say that, we
Yeah.
did have that issue. Historically, we get a very extremely small percentage that, is so minor that it's not even really going to impact anyone else, but it's important to us being such a small group. And I believe, Jessica, that when we last talked in person, that you did submit, however that's worked, a 0.1% for this year?
I
That
didn't
happen.
so.
Okay,
I
well, that
just-
was what I thought.
That's why,
gonna happen.
yeah.
So that's why you're mentioning that now, okay.
that's why I wanted you to come, because, yeah,
Yeah, because
You
of this
need
whole other thing, you kind of thought, all right. So, then I don't know why I'm here, other than to thank you for.
to ask, you can ask,
I mean,
you're asking.
Yeah, I will officially ask for the 0.1% because I have no shame and I'm greedy. So you can enter that into the public record. And I did want to, since you gave us a whole half hour, I'm going to talk about a couple other things, that the museum. But go
I
ahead.
just wanted to mention, what we're most interested in is that we stay on the books. That because we didn't get anything, that there may be the tendency to take us off of the books. We don't want that. We want to remain on the books, so at some future time, if there is funds available, that we are a recognized entity.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what we're most
Very good.
concerned with.
And I think that was part of the last conversation Jessica and I had about leaving a little bit of money in there, that after that check was cut, there were a couple more transactions that came in the last $1,000
Yep.
of that,
Yep.
mostly. And we're gonna leave that there because your suggestion, and I think it's a good one, is it kind of reminds you we're still there.
Right.
By leaving some money in.
And I didn't realize too, so I think it was great that it turned out that there was money there, is I didn't realize that you guys were paying that small phone bill.
Well,
So it's
right,
good to
that
have
was the
some there,
thing.
so
It was like
in the end-
$3, but we got more than enough to cover that.
So
easy,
in the end,
those
it
type
worked,
of
yeah,
things, but
it was good,
Yeah, so, and that'll work just fine.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because maybe in the future there will be, some things that improve, and we can maybe start
Yes.
giving you guys a little 1/10% or 0.2 mils or something.
Yeah.
As long as we're still in the list.
Right.
You got it, you're on the list.
Oh, good.
And I did want to talk about a couple things which I did mention last time I was at one of these meetings a few months ago, that I've actually got product, which is very exciting. So this is our Mineral County
Oh.
History book.
I
And
bought
can
one
even
of those.
pass around.
Yeah.
with,
Roman has
just-
bought a couple of them.
This is my copy, so I want it back. But we're
That's
selling
wonderful.
these for $20 a piece. This is entirely produced by our local historical society. Even the layout. We didn't take this to a publisher like most authors do, that then lay it out and everything. We did all that work internally, and the only thing we outsourced was the binding process.
The printing and
The printing and the binding. And so that kept the cost really low. This is the 4th edition of this book. That the first edition goes back to 1976. We corrected a few inaccuracies and errors from our last edition, as we try to do every time we come out with a new edition. But we also added about 20 pages of new material, mostly towards the end. And so it's a fresh product as well. And you know, I think you'll see, for anyone who wants to see that it's a very attractive product. So that's what we've been busy doing this last year when we haven't been in commissioner meetings. And then the other thing is we had a grant that was written on our behalf by the Bitterroot Economic Development District. That was state money, so no cost to us. We had this Next Exit History project come to fruition. We probably have the best website in the county right now.
Really?
Which is part of that, and that website's on here. These are rack cards that have been distributed to local motels, and not just local, but all around. And if anyone wants a copy of this that hadn't gotten it before, let me know. I have plenty of those. We got 1,000 of them. And so that was very exciting. And what it is an app you can download onto your phone, free, that visitors or locals can give themselves a digital tour, a virtual tour. But they can actually go to the place. They can download it ahead of time if you don't got cell phone signal. And go up Cedar Creek and see Forest City, Mayville, and all the other places. And relate to having your feet on the ground or wheels to the ground. So it's great.
What's in there, Lori?
My house
Oh.
Yeah.
that I grew up in.
The school.
Looks different now, but
Did you move into your folks' place? Did you move into your folks' place?
no, I mean the one I grew up in.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, those have been two big projects we've been working on. You know, our long-term goal is to get a real standalone museum building. We are bursting at the gills. You know, it's something for sure, but you know, we're not doing justice to the great collection of material we have, especially as it relates to John Mullen. And so that's the long-term goal, which is why, you know, having this book is actually going to be, you know, in the long term, a fundraiser for us as we sell the copies. We're out the money now, you know, that's all upfront money, but you know, that's not going to get us near it either. I mean, it's certainly going to help. So, you know, those mill levies are what over a period of time, and what does that do? That brings people. People love to come. Tourists to see museums, local museums, and we're not doing justice to the museum we have. So
We'd love to get live people in there to be there more often than 2 days a week, 2 afternoons a week.
and I will mention just one more thing, and so I have only recently started becoming involved in the Mullen Road Conference, which is Kay's idea. It was your conception of this 15 years ago?
How about 27 years?
27 years ago, time flies.
Deb Davis and I started the Mullen Conference in 1989.
And it was held locally here as just a very informal gathering.
One-day gathering. And then in 2006, Paul Putz from the Lewis and Clark Historical Group called and asked if we would mind if they held it in Helena. And I said, oh, there is a God. Because we just had a one day. They were bringing people in from all over, and it has just blossomed since then.
So here's the thing, I've gone I went on the field tour at Missoula 3 years ago. 2 years ago, I went to the entire conference in Fort Benton. Last year, it was in Helena. Next year, it's gonna be in Deer Lodge. And it's turned into a whole weekend conference with 100 historians and people who go to see this. And wouldn't that be great someday to have this come back here? But we don't have
We
a
don't
place.
have the facilities
You
for it.
know all that. But, you know, what a tourism generator that would be. And it was our idea, it was her idea, not mine.
Well, you mean
And-
like
and
like,
yeah.
I wonder if the St. Regis Visitor Center could be the
Perhaps.
gathering spot for all the
Yeah,
historians.
yeah, perhaps.
But
The
we need a
acoustics are tough
place
there,
in county to host 100 people.
but, yeah.
Hmm,
And
You
I
know,
don't know whether
motels.
motel would be up to that,
yeah,
but yeah. So, I mean, it's just kind of a thought.
yeah.
Chuck Mead, when it was in Helena, when he was still with us, we miss him something terrible. He had some road trips to Alberton and took a hayride
Mhm.
up over the scenic cliffs.
Yeah.
And it was just fantastic.
Mhm.
We would like to have more of Superior involved, but we also recognize there's just no room. We could get 100 people here, but where are we gonna put them?
Mhm.
The car show, when I was involved with that was a challenge too, and
Mhm.
kind of kept a lid on how much.
Lodging, yeah.
Lodging,
Yep, we started it in 1989. Dr. Hugh Mullen, his wife, Dr. Fitzhugh Mullen, his wife and daughter were here. And I just saw Fitzhugh again in Helena. And he remembered being here
Hmm.
with us.
Did the Mullen family have anything to do with coining the name of the weed, the Mullen weed?
It's
No,
different spelling.
It's a different spelling.
Oh, it is, okay.
Mullein.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So it's a homonym, right? When it's
Mhm.
pronounced the same, different stuff.
I just know it's spelled, pronounced mullen, and it's a funny little weed.
Yeah,
Grows real
Noxious
tall.
weed, yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
That ironically grows along disturbed areas like roads. So, yeah. So I think that's
That's just about.
all we have. I guess the only question I have is, again, because we haven't been as physically involved as we have this year, what goes on from here? How do we find out whether any
So-
of our request has been granted or not?
So we have another budget hearing on August 12th, and then
Oh,
kind of another work session on the 26th, and the final budget should be ready for hearing and finalization on September 2.
okay. The August
So if we
12th
happen to find out what our value of our meal is and we're
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised, you know, we will try to let you know we
Right.
have something, but otherwise it might not be for another year or two in the
Sure.
future if we can't get something happening now, so.
Well, but our main concern is that we're not eliminated
Right.
from the list.
Mhm.
No,
You know, granted, it's like Social Security. They don't pay us anymore, but we're still on the list.
Mhm.
And that's the important thing.
mhm. Yeah, you're still a viable entity on
That's
the
right.
rolls there, maybe you're not getting anything right now, but someday.
And for last year, you donated a very
Thank
nice
you, yes.
donation to us, which we really appreciated.
Well, yeah, because I think I think what you do is important, and so
Okay.
maybe hit me up again this fall,
Yeah.
if I forget.
I'll put it in the minutes, so.
There we go.
Gonna hold my feet to the
I
fire.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
The August 12th meeting, is that something that's similar to this, or is it the next stage up? Is this
It's a
something we
Friday.
need to?
I don't think it's something that, yeah, because like you said, we really don't have much
Yeah.
tweaking to do with zero with you guys
Yes.
anyway, so.
Okay. You know, it seems like Jessica has my email address,
Mhm.
which luckily I found out about this because my name was on it. And so it seems like, and I've been getting, and I think you've been getting all along, the commissioners' calendars, which is
Mhm.
very useful to
Comes
us.
to me and the museum, so,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and Sue.
And so, you know, I think the lines of email works wonderful for me. So lines of communication are
Mhm.
definitely better than they used to be. I seem to get those on a consistent basis. And,
Mhm.
Thank you.
so, yeah, thank you, Joan. Yeah. So I think that's it. Other
Okay.
than I'm going to get my book back.
Yeah.
So
And
do I
we've
pick-
only got about
Sorry.
pick these up
9,500
over
of
at
them
the
left, or
thingy?
Yes.
950
Okay, 'cause I
of
would
them
like
left.
to
Oh, really?
So if you
Um,
need any more, you better get it in a hurry.
If you got your
How many did you
$20,
tell
I'll
me?
do this one, and
Can
then
I
I
run
can.
and get you? I'll run and
$10,000.
get
If
you
that
20
works
bucks
for you.
right now.
So look at that. We even got a sale out of it. So we got something out of the
Sale.
commissioners after all.
You need to
I'm
come
gonna-
over more often.
right now, I think, for that. Okay, Tim Reed? What fund are we talking about first? Give us a number.
Roads. I don't know.
Roads?
That's what the first one says here.
That isn't.
No, that was that parks thing, whatever.
Want to do parks?
Yeah, do parks.
Let's do parks.
2210.
2210, right?
So there probably hasn't been a lot of revenue for 2010 because we've had more mitigation in different ways than we've had cash in lieu of.
Yeah, I think, last year you collected $200. So I budgeted, I think, what you told me to, and I just budgeted that 1,700. You can see that on there. On that preliminary budget column where it says preliminary budget 1617.
I had a different one.
Oh, you have revenue. So first of all, yes. So
Okay.
you'll have a revenue one, and we'll look at revenue first, and then we'll look at expenditures.
Okay.
So revenue, you can see your revenue. Do you see it, Tim? So you had 600, and then nothing, and then 200. So I just budgeted 1,700, I think, is what you asked, and
But the 22, whatever's in that account right now is staying in there.
that's correct.
Yeah.
We do not move. That's, yeah. So you have, yeah, you had $22,000 cash as your beginning cash. We budgeted $1,700 in revenue, and we budgeted the $22,000 cash to spend it in case a great project comes up, but that's, that's only if a good project comes up and you
Well, the
do it.
project that might ever, someday may happen is we would probably have to come up with some match for the purchasing the Clyde property on the other side of the river. But if we got a trails grant, Montana Parks, or whether Parks FWP, whether they, I saw their list of grant applications, I think it was in the paper and stuff, a bunch of swimming pools, a bunch of things. I mean, we would have been really competitive if we would have proposed to pick up that piece of property, but, maybe one of these days. we'll get to that.
And parks, just to be clear, parks is money from open space and subdivisions, right?
Right.
Yep, and then it
So-
has,
So probably 60% of that, 50% of that money. It really depends on where we completed the subdivisions, and not very many of them were completed, so. Shyrock they didn't cash in lieu, they have a whole bunch of open space, so they didn't pay.
they didn't pay.
But it was the couple of them that did get completed, the Coonies and, so.
And also the
34,
money,
from
the money's
city.
supposed to go kind of to the community where, isn't that
It's generated,
Mhm.
so.
yeah.
Now I'd almost have to go back and do a little bit of an analysis, but I think about, I think there's less necessarily in the Alberton area, so it's more
Mhm.
Superior and St. Regis, but,
Of what, what's that?
yeah.
Okay. Should we move on from parks
Mhm.
then?
Yes.
Okay. What's our next fund you want to look at?
I thought we could just do junk vehicle really quick since it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
But I don't, maybe you didn't do revenue for junk vehicle, I guess.
I had zero revenue. I don't
Yeah,
think
'cause
that,
I haven't been applying for it, so, okay.
I didn't do any revenue.
Moot point.
So I just have the cash of, $5,965, and I just budgeted that as a
Right.
possible expenditure. And I think under that, I did put your payroll, a little bit of payroll for you if you do it
Been that
like you
way.
requested, yeah.
And
So
what do
the,
you, what do you mean you didn't apply for it? I thought that was on a registration thing and it comes in on people's plates, junk
it
vehicle.
does, but I have to apply for it, you really should be expending something. I've been
Oh.
sitting on the same over $5,000 for 3 years, and we've done like 3 junk vehicles.
Do we still have a wrecker outfit in the county that has the contract for junk vehicle?
Technically Schober, we haven't renewed anything, but I call them up annually and inform them that they're still hauling junk vehicles. And he's hauled the last 2 or 3 that we've done.
Okay.
So that works, so if there's a junk vehicle like parked on the side of the, or in front of my house or something, that's how that works, so I,
No, that's the sheriff's department.
cause it's in front of my house. If
So it'd be
it's
like if your husband had an old Rambler and it was in the backyard.
in my
And then
backyard,
finally he said, you know, I don't want that anymore.
And
He
hopefully-
could
I see.
call Showers and they'd haul it away.
and then they charge the county whatever fee you guys have
Mhm.
figured out.
Which state thinks is pretty excessive, but it ends up being, $200 and some to, because they pack it up, and not only pack it up, but we don't have a junk vehicle yard, they pack it off to Missoula.
Well, I can think of some people in St. Regis that should be,
Calling you.
I
Or you
mean,
could
we
call
should be
them
able to
for
use
us.
that money right up, I would think, Tim.
You really would almost think that, but it's not been the case, partly because,
Mhm.
they can sign a release, but I'd really like to have the title go with it, and a lot of times people can't produce a title. We'll do that, so.
Mhm.
I mean, if they produce a registration that says I paid for the licenses for
Or really,
10 years
But you would-
and sign the release, then okay, fine, but I really like to have a release and the title.
I know, but I don't think some of these cars have titles to
Yeah.
St. Regis.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. But that's interesting to know, maybe I'll, okay?
But, yeah, now there's a white car sitting at the American Legion Post building in there, right across the bridge,
Yeah?
doing that. And people are calling me that, well, you can pick that up, and I'm like, that's an abandoned vehicle, it's not a
That's
junk
different.
vehicle, so.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
So the EPA, I think,
What fun, Tim?
2934.
Okay.
I think I gave you enough information just to set that account up.
Yep, I think so. So, yeah, so we've budgeted for, the $50,720 that's still remaining,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So we budgeted that for revenue, and then I turned around and budgeted that for expenditures too.
yes.
The only thing really I should do, if we wanna make it perfect, is you have a beginning cash balance of $197 is what it's showing. So I should budget to spend that too. So then I have all of the remaining grant revenue of 50,000, plus we'll budget to spend it all, plus that $197. It's like this.
Okay, but they rolled the original grant over into the first grant.
So but you have this $197 cash balance. So here's your revenue, here's your expenditures, and it's still leaving 197. So really, this should be plus 197. So if it's all said and done,
Did
you'll
you
end
get to
up
read
with
it yet?
0.
You can read first.
No, we don't want to read it.
Don't want to read it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Thank you.
on paper it makes sense,
Does it
but I
say,
don't know.
doesn't
that-
say my name.
In reality.
No,
Yep,
I was
I'm
just
gonna call him
teasing
and tell him,
you.
put a whole article in there about you.
Says you're a very controversial lady.
But we have it, I mean, we have it, and so, you might as well, we
Yeah.
have it.
That's $197.
Where was that big starting I'm looking on the revenue and the expenditure. What were you saying? There was a starting amount of what?
197.52,
That's cash.
That's on this.
2934.
Oh, okay, I keep looking at that.
Yeah. So I think I'll do that, Tim, to make it, if you're good with that.
Okay, well, if we can reconcile that with that email from the EPA that said you had this much remaining of the original 40,000 grant, you have now been granted this additional 55, and they combined those two, that I guess I consider the starting amount, but and I can show you those requests for payment and stuff and see whether we can try to fine tune that a little bit more,
Okay.
because it's one of those difficulties of where you're working with their fiscal year and our fiscal year, so.
Okay. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll just leave it like it is then, and unless we have
Right.
time to do that, yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's the EPA.
Okay, so what would be easier for you, to start at lower numbers and go bigger numbers?
Doesn't matter. Let's just avoid the general fund though. I don't wanna go there. Do the other ones first.
The 2859, I'm not sure. The Information Act.
2859, county land information. I don't even know what that, I do not know what that is. 2859.
Now, we tried to set up a fund for when we're getting paid for copies and information and doing that, but I don't
Oh.
think this is the
This
same
is
thing.
Stacy's fund.
It's the fund, it's her, she's collecting the 75%.
Stacy budgeted for this fund.
Okay.
So
okay.
this is Stacy's fund, yeah. And so she's the one that gave me the revenue and the expense for it.
Okay, and the reason that I was interested in that is that we've been paying for the courthouse GIS support out of that
Mm-hmm.
fund, but she bought that new piece of equipment up there and it really depleted that,
It did.
so I guess it, just so that Stacy and I have some kind of understanding that, is this available for courthouse GIS maintenance then?
It seems like she does.
She's been okay with it before and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, just so you know, if you look on the expenditure side, where she had me budget the cash balance, was under GIS supplies. So I think that one is,
Yeah, I think that's pretty much.
pretty good on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't think we need to talk about the 2960, the theft, that's not,
Right, yeah.
at
Mm-mm.
this point in time, so. Okay, 2270.
Health and sanitation, 2270. So, on the revenue side, at this point, it's just assuming the same number of mills that we gave you last year, which could change, at this point, it's just preliminary. And then charges for services is what the figures you gave me for the revenue side.
Right.
On the expense side, I did do 50%, and so I think that part's right. So 50% of payroll is taken out of health and sanitation.
Yes.
Okay, so so that one's good. And then I think everything else is just as you requested.
Right. I don't quite have the, we've been around 25 sewer permits and the peak years and a lot of activity going on, there was 40, 50, 60 permits a year, but there should be some increase in the sewer permits because of the new fee structure and the new sewer rules and stuff.
Yeah, did you use his old rate, Jessica, or did you plug that number in, Tim?
For
I basically
sel-
plugged that number in, but it's gonna be this summer season for the last part of the fiscal year, and so any of those permits that were in the pipeline
Oh.
and they got the old fees.
Right.
So it's probably not gonna see a significant increase for the end of this year, unless for some reason there's a, pretty active late summer for sewer permits and stuff. And site evaluations is pretty iffy. That just, sometimes they all happen and go and sometimes they don't, so. The food service from the state, the health inspection fees, we've had that up to like 7,500, but it's dropping some degree from the state. There are a few things that they've dropped in there, but the whole structure of that is kind of in a state of change and flux a little bit, because the temporary food service fees do not go to the state anymore. We collect those and get deposited directly, but historically I haven't had that many temporary food services, but we've had more this year than we've had in the past, but if we start collecting more of those, then could be a little bit of change there. But
Right.
typically recognizing, so the subdivision review, that's that DEQ back, and we kinda had that little quick discussion about that. That's a hard one to judge, because all of a sudden it seems like it's gonna jump up and go and get back to the historic levels, which has been significantly higher than that, and then we just kinda sit and go, so don't really see it, so.
So I mean, it seems like the revenue's realistic, though. I mean, it's, not overinflated by any means, I don't think.
It's not overinflated.
No.
But would I be surprised if that revenue, we were able to double that amount? That'd be fairly easy and stuff to do that.
Okay.
So I think we're somewhat okay. That water sampling, that typically where we put groundwater monitoring, and the last couple of years, they just haven't had the interest in that, so.
Let's look at the expense side of it now, Tim.
So, I'm presuming we still have a health officer. Haven't heard anything new that she is not a health officer anymore. That purchase services, that $500, I think historically that was at least a reserve for the health officer, from what I could tell.
I almost wonder if we haven't had an expense for 4 years, I wonder if we can take it out. Or your thought, and then, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, kind of, I thought is that, excuse me, when we always had a MD, that their insurance and all of that covered it. Covered their operation, covered the process, they didn't have any problem with that one, MD. Now we've switched to Laurel and stuff, and she's in a different insurance mechanism and stuff like that, so now they're saying that Mako's covering that and stuff, so I guess we're still okay with that, but I don't know if we should be ending up, I'm kinda wondering whether we should be paying Laurel so much a month, and then she's like, there's not we've removed the question about her being paid, and is she a county employee, or is she a hospital employee doing all that.
I don't know. I don't know what we're really talking about, I don't think. So what are we
She's a health
supposed to?
officer.
She's a health officer?
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know what,
that's a required position by the county.
Okay.
Typically, it's filled by a physician, but Peggy was pretty adamant that she wanted to have Laurel.
and is Laurel still doing it? Oh,
Yes.
she is.
She is.
Oh, okay. I don't know. So, and you're saying that this health officer, we're supposed to, the $500 was for what?
They just paid the health officer a nominal fee of like $50 a month to be the health officer.
Oh,
Show up at the,
I don't know. Does anybody know anything about that?
it's all.
I don't know if we're paying her
Yeah,
or
way before.
We're not paying.
We're not at all.
I'm just trying to explain to you kind of that $500.
where it comes from.
that
Yeah.
Sits there. And in one way, yes, we could take it and alter it and move it, but on the other hand, if we want to be careful, I don't, I know that Peggy conversed with Mako somehow, I believe, and maybe Cindy did, that the health officer position they felt was covered under the thing, but then she's doing that grant
Mhm.
application and doing that part of it.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just something, just to leave it alone, I don't have to.
Yeah, I do not know about that. So what do you guys want to do with that? Leave it?
Oh, what were you saying? Back in the old days, they have somebody come out occasionally at what functions, were you gonna say?
No, it was like that, you should have had a quarterly Board of Health meeting, and so the $50 a month would be, in essence, pay the physician $150 to attend the quarterly Board of Health meetings. That was kind of the concept, is that he didn't have to come over here and not get something for his time as health officer. But
And now that you've been running it the way you have for the last 6 years or whatever,
yeah.
so what are you suggesting? Line item that out of there and?
Yeah, I mean, if, we haven't had anything out of there for 4 years, so I don't,
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, you guys need to decide.
The way it's been, I don't see why we'd need it. Tim, do you see anything that,
No.
Okay.
If we're-
So we'll go to 0 on that one.
okay?
About postage, Tim? You want to just go down? Can we just go down? Postage. Can we change postage a little bit?
Well, I thought I did change those. Thought it was.
It was 500. You were still budgeting 500, I'm sure. Do you want to change it to like 250 though, or something? Or no?
Not really, I mean, if we have, it's for the Board of Health meetings and any of the hearings that we have for variances or any of those things, it still needs to be there, so. It should be a budgeted item and stuff. We now have to pay for the mailing out of all the licenses on an annual basis for the state used to reimburse us for that, or basically they'd send us a pile of stamps every year, and now we have to do that on our own, so. Some of that was reimbursed in the past is no longer reimbursed, so. I think that leaving it at 500 is probably.
I think the only other one that kind of pops out to me is just that the consultant services.
Yeah, you know, I could say with that, if you encountered a situation where you would have to end up hiring a competing engineer, if you got engineering plans and do that, you know, it's always kind of been there in that reserve. Or it has also been there with the mindset that if I ever actually took a extended time off and stuff, that you would pay somebody to come in and fill that. And the only time that we've did that in the past, the individual charged $75 an hour to do the fill-in work, so it's not inexpensive. You're pretty much at their mercy to hire them in there. So.
Okay. How many other funds do you have, Tim? Do you just have the planning board left?
Yes. So I guess we're done with that one.
So, are we done with that one, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the planning fund number?
Planning board,
2250.
2250. So I think the, oh, go ahead.
Is the actual revenue for the mills, that part of it, you know, the real estate property and all of those,
Not finalized.
it's not finalized?
So, for a couple reasons. One, we don't have the mill value yet. We won't get that until August 1st. So it will change based on the mill value. And then also, this estimate or this, it's based on assuming that all of the funds get the same mills they received last year, which very likely could change too. So I mean, I think the revenue, you know, like what you budgeted under your charges and stuff, that all seems good, don't you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I
think-
don't know if we have sorted out the CDBG yet, I don't know.
Yeah, will that come into the planning board?
Yes,
Okay,
I mean, it'll be in this budget.
and it will be 7,500, is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
But we were also receiving the 298 and the 576 from Superior and 298 from Alberton, so there still needs to be another one that gets accounted for one way or the other.
okay, I'll do that.
So,
Okay, so I will, I'll account for that 7,500. So let's look at expenditures. So Tim, I'll move that salary, I'll move that 6% that I put under growth back up to the planning board and make that 50%, like,
right.
how, okay.
Yes.
And then overtime, it just goes down there, okay. So we have termination leave in there, you guys.
I see that.
Tim requested that.
I wonder what he's starting to think about.
I know, that's it. Like, why is that even there, Tim?
Mhm.
What's going on?
Tim, oh, maybe I'm jumping ahead. The capital outlay, what's that example of in your department for that? 12,000?
Well, I had requested last year that go towards a county vehicle. That was.
Oh, that's right.
I just started getting more hesitant as the fiscal year went. And busy enough that I didn't pursue that to pick that up.
That old Ford's still running good?
No, I can't say it's running good, but it's still running, so. I should do a Alberton special where they guy drove his own truck around for a year and a half, and then the town bought it from him for some vehicle for the town. Yeah, like strange.
So, I mean, everything seems pretty straightforward except for,
Well, I reduced the postage in there. I guess these are the ones where I did publications was reduced.
yes.
Utilities, I don't understand that one.
So I'm not sure when they started, but they kind of allocate utilities based on, do you have a cell phone?
Yes,
It's your cell phone. Like, we get a whole bunch of different,
but it's just a standard contract with Verizon that Jason and I share, but
you have to ask Nicole exactly how, but that's what that is, most likely.
okay.
But she has all the detail, like all of how that's all done.
Okay.
So I added that line item, that expense
Yeah,
for
well,
utilities.
if it's for that cell phone.
Yep,
it should be.
that's what it's for, I'm sure. You know.
I just did it.
I know. So I think, the ones the commissioners need to look at is termination leave. Do we want to budget for that? And then that capital outlay. Do you guys want to decide now for the, how about the vehicle? Are we, I'm,
I could,
at this point, yeah.
At this point, we can.
Yeah, I think it's
about
safe.
it.
Vehicle, are
Are
we?
you voting to strike it from the ledger?
I'm asking if you guys want to strike it.
Tim
Because I
says
would
that-
like to, anything that's obvious that you guys already know what you're wanting to do, I'd want to do it now, so the next time we meet, we're even closer. We don't have to revisit things that you guys already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the current situation, we should
Strike it.
forego it, yeah, and then maybe we can revisit it next year.
Or we can,
Well,
might be able to come up with
I mean,
something.
if
Yeah.
my truck with 365,000 miles on it dies, I'm on foot. Just to throw that out to you, because I basically donated that truck to Mineral County for,
Well, one idea was, I remember the health department mentioning their vehicle. Maybe we could do a little sharing of that vehicle.
well, but without four-wheel drive and
Oh.
high center, then ain't gonna get me where I
Oh,
Need to go.
need to go.
gotcha.
Should've used that, gave Tim that pickup we got from the road department that we gave to the weed board.
Mhm.
Oh. If we could share with the weed
I
board.
mean, the practical side of it is that 12,000 was fairly high end. I mean, it was gonna end up probably with a little nicer vehicle from the motor pool and just
Mhm.
get you around vehicle, but then it was also gonna be the share vehicle too. I'm not quite sure how that would work if other departments were using a vehicle that I guess was primarily mine, whether they would, would you expect them to share costs or
Mhm.
lease fuel or something like that, I guess, so.
I would think. Mhm.
I don't, if I.
We can not decide today, you guys can think about it, of
Okay,
course.
well, we got another budget coming up again, revisit again on the 12th maybe.
Yeah.
Anytime we can explore other options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The weed truck, it might be a good option
Mhm.
to share.
Mhm.
Or the road department has 3 pickups too.
Mhm. Yeah, and they don't drive them every day, depending what they're doing. So. Yeah,
Okay.
we can figure something out, I think.
Okay. We should probably move on to
Yep.
the next to Marcia.
Yeah, Marcia's been waiting for 15 minutes. Are we done with Tim, or was there one more thing?
I think that was his last fund.
Yeah, the other part of that is that growth policy. It's up there, I just, there was some reductions down there too, the publications. So I did do some reductions in the budgets before we got here, so.
So if the termination leave can't be budgeted for, then that means you can't leave,
Yeah, right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
No.
my old job just came available in Gallatin County, so be warned.
Is that right, really?
Yeah. Been waiting for Mr. Rourke to retire and he just pulled the plug. They just put out the announcement Monday, so.
Oh, you love Superior so much.
I know. It's so much fun being in Bozeman too.
Just think how much it costs you to live in Bozeman.
Oh, I know. But they're pretty cognizant of that, so Sally's pretty good with it too.
Well, thank you, Tim.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna tell you good luck.
About 4 attorneys in my office and 14 minutes for witness interviews.
Okay, so let's go, Marcia's in the general fund, so go to the 1,000 fund.
Okay.
Do you wanna talk about the revenues at all for you?
I don't know what, I mean, I've got a contract with Alberton. I don't know where that shows up. But I still haven't been able to figure out where any of those surcharges.
Even after getting the collection reports? You don't see where,
I asked Kim and Wendy to check into it for me because I couldn't see where there was any kind of amount in correlating with what it should be from the justice court numbers. So I'm not sure where that's going.
so you don't know like where they're even,
I don't know where it's being put, so I don't really feel like I can talk about revenue very
okay.
intelligently at this point.
Okay. I wanna find out, so you have a contract with Alberton though? I would be curious to see where that, I just wanna make sure where that goes. So contract with Alberton,
$6,000. It was originally envisioned as kind of a, it was to help with the deputy salary.
it's, is it for legal service, for,
And their prosecutor
Yeah,
and their legal advisor.
for the town?
right.
Okay, okay. I'll find out where that goes. I can do that. Where all those fees go, you have to talk to those ladies. Okay. Okay, so expenditure side, we can go look at, go to 1,000, and then, you know, in the general fund, there's several different sections, so we have to kind of go through until we find.
Yeah.
900.
Did you take a look at this? Okay. I just did kind of based on last year's actuals for you.
Okay.
I
think I can cut about $2,000 out of supplies and take that to 4,000.
Okay.
And I should be able to cut 1,300 out of travel. I think some of these figures are misleading, because we have traditionally, when our grant has paid for us to go to training, that has been reimbursed by the grant, but I don't think it gets credited back. to this, cause I don't think I've ever claimed mileage or anything. If I go to a conference, I will, be reimbursed for the hotel, but, so I think $2,000 is sufficient.
Okay, so take that to 2.
Yeah.
So it's like the motel rooms, that's considered, that is taken out of travel?
Well, there were some issues with some grant,
Right, but, okay.
stuff.
So
So,
like an annual, like our annual conference and stuff, that's taken out of travel, right?
correct. Or training.
Or,
Training. So like the conference fee would be training, but to get there,
I've
Would be
always
travel.
assumed lodging came out of travel.
I would say lodging would be
the
travel.
lodging would travel,
Mhm.
but
The
the
training,
registration
yeah.
itself
Would-
would come out of travel.
Be training. That's how I would think.
Okay.
Those are the only real changes that I can see. If anyone else has anything.
Thank you.
That's it?
That's it. Unless you have any questions for us.
No, the only thing that I would say is that I was contacted by Chantel Gaynor, our grant administrator for the CDA grant. And we are going to be at some point redefining our goals and objectives to address our needs a little better. And so as far as the CBA grant goes, I think for that one, we need to maintain the status quo for now, and then, once all of that gets approved on the other end, we'll come back and probably ask for like a budget amendment or something. I don't know what we have to do to change that if we change up what we're
It's easy.
doing with it.
Yeah, if a grant changes, it's an easy budget amendment.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Okay. Good. We're looking at did you print out your budget? Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at
there too.
Oh, good. So we're looking at revenue first. We should wait for Lori though.
I'm on the wrong one. Because my revenue's on the same one. So I had put 4,500 because I knew I'd be getting
Oh, last year.
$3,000 back, you know,
Mhm.
but see, when that came back, it just went into general fund miscellaneous. Because it's not election fees. So that money did go back in there, but it didn't go back into my election fees. So that's why that one, but usually I don't ever say more than 1,000.
So you were good when you budgeted your 1,000.
Yeah, and it'll probably be a little bit, it depends on how many little elections we have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I bill certain entities for that.
Okay.
So that's what that's for.
Any other revenue in the general fund? That's really it,
No,
isn't
recording fees,
Clerk and recorder fees.
and they totally depend on documents.
Yeah, and I think at 27,000, it's conservative and good.
Because I went down a little bit, and
Yeah.
I think, like, we just got a document on Monday that was $1,500. So I mean, sometimes you can have one document that does your whole it just,
Month or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally depends on.
Yeah.
But we can wait for Lori. I'm fine. I just,
Okay.
you know.
So, on number 1, you know, if you do that and you have issues, you're gonna have a really hard time doing
I don't know what to
anything.
tell you.
I'm just saying because, I mean.
Because I'm not going to get a stamp for my name.
Mhm.
I'm not going to promise that I'm available 24/7. There's no backup for you. There's no backup for, I mean, I don't know.
I'm just giving you a heads
I
up,
know.
just so that way you're
I
aware
know.
that that's gonna look bad.
She's my option right now.
I understand.
And
But it negates your other option.
what is my other option? I can't fire her.
No, but you could go through the processes of getting of
But I need to give her a chance.
whatever you need to do. Yeah, that's fine.
And actually, she's been working on the recording all week, and she's she's picking it up quick, and she is doing.
Oh, so
she's
now
better
it's all
than
good. Okay.
Well, it's not all good, but she's learning, and she's. Some people pick it up quicker than others, and some people don't.
I'm just, 'cause I'm just confused from the last I talked to you and now then, so.
We had a come to Jesus discussion.
Oh, what time does he come in? I mean, later, I mean, it's
True, he might be there right now.
Oh, okay, well, we've got time.
maybe we can meet in your office and, you know, something, she shouldn't just get a letter without face to face, but.
Okay.
Will you be over there?
We'll be done.
This won't take long, Tom.
I'll give you a call, yeah, I just wanted, if we did it face to face, probably.
If you can't find me, give me a jingle, Roman.
Okay.
I'm interviewing on a case right
Okay,
now.
Okay.
thanks, Tommy.
Office, so, yep.
Yeah, no, we had kind of a come to Jesus last Friday, and just said, look, said there's lots of us that aren't sure that, and this is probably unkosher.
Just be careful.
Yeah, just
Really
said
good.
lots that think that you can't or whatever, but she's picking it up. So
As long
good.
as you think that the come to Jesus is one thing and the ability is another, so.
and I had some concerns, but she really does seem to be it's clicking faster, better than I anticipated. With the election stuff going on, I didn't have time to actually sit and try to explain all of it. There's no way you can retain, because there's so many stupid little details that I chose to stay with just elections at that time. So now that I've got some downtime before the next election stuff starts really cramming in, we've been sitting and I've been making her do the recording all day. And she's, like I told her, it's going to take a good 6 months to sink in, because even Kellyanne, me, I mean, that's just how it is. You don't, because you might not get a document. I don't know, she had a mineral deed that in 17 years I've never seen one. 219 pages long, So she is trying, and I mean, I have to give her a chance. That's what my options are. I can't keep sitting there and doing nothing.
So how long has she been in now?
Well, since October, but with the turmoil the first part of the year, with both of them being brand new as far as claims and payroll, and they were both trying to learn payroll so that I had to pick a place. And then it all switched to elections as soon as the first of the year came around. I haven't even attempted to start recording until this week with her. And I flat told her that she's gonna have to, if somebody comes to the counter, I don't care whether you think it pertains to you or not, you get up and you come and you are pleasant and you stand and shadow me, and that's the only way you're gonna learn. And the talk went really well, considering that I was pretty sure she was gonna come uncorked. But I don't know. I don't know what else to do. With what we pay, I'm not gonna get anybody else that's any smarter in. So. And even with whatever increase I put in there for her, I still cut almost $11,000 out of my.
Okay, so let's look at it. So let's go to the general fund expenditures. We'll go to clerk and recorder. It's 410510.
It'll be on page 2 of your.
Page 2.
Oh, page 2. So I allocated salaries. So right now, Stace, just so you know, so salaries, it's as if there's a freeze. That's how everything is budgeted with no raise
Right,
at this
exactly.
point.
Right.
Just so you know.
Right.
So, and then I did allocate 50-50 like you had asked.
And
So I put 50 in clerk and recorder of total payroll and 50% in elections per Stacy's request. It's really, I think it's almost irrelevant how you break that, because it's all in the general fund
And
anyway.
that's true, I guess. I was thinking,
So-
because I switched it again, so there was the 2,000 on the election side, but like, it doesn't matter because it's all together,
Yeah.
so.
So, anyway, so that's how payroll is allocated. It's 50-50 between clerk and recorder and elections. And then you can just go down and see anything else that. Are you saying you have more cuts after you gave me this?
Mhm.
Okay, what are they?
I gave you copies of,
Oh, I didn't go.
I'm not sure which page, because I got mine all messed up.
Also in the
because mine's not
elections.
stapled.
Okay.
And I did a little bit in the, I did some rearranging because, and the only problem that I have with, well, I'll do that when we get to elections. And I kind of I kind of explained why in my,
In your little summary.
yeah. And I did that more so I would remember why I did what I did. Like I cut another
Oh, but then we're
1,000.
okay, we're just increasing that one to.
So I cut 1,000 from supplies because the warrants, both payroll and claims, and the W-2 forms, those now should be coming out of finance. So I won't need that extra because those three things right there are pretty close to $1,000. Postage, I left it pretty much because it totally depends on the volume of recording, how much I spend in postage in the clerk and recorder side.
Wait, posted, we added money.
Did I add it?
Yeah, so we were at 2,200,
well,
and now we're at
I put it back to
2,510.
because I had cut it to 22,
Okay, so now we're back to 2,510.
and I think
Or back, okay.
I think it needs to stay at the 25. Just
Okay.
because if the I mean, I have to be able to send the documents back. It's a requirement.
Okay.
Publications, I cut a whopping $100 out of it. I know it's not a lot, but it helps. Just because I need to go through those because I looked at my detail ledger query to see what publications, but of course it just says the name of the vendor. It doesn't say what they were for.
Mm-hmm.
But the clerk and recorder side, I think I only have like one publication that really should stay mine, and that's the tax appeal board one that comes out in May for June.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them all have to do with the budget and whatnot,
Okay.
or the financial report and that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. So that's really
The audit report.
that's
yeah.
not my.
Okay.
I mean,
No, I agree.
It's not clerk and recorder stuff anymore. So
No, it's in finance.
granted, it's still general fund, so I mean it's still coming out of the same place, but.
No, I agree. No, this is good. That's exactly what we should be doing.
Utilities, I went up 150 just because there was $110 in my detail ledger query for Blackfoot. So it just is one that got missed. It came out of supplies instead of utilities. It's still in there.
Okay.
So anyway, to put them in the right place.
I like it. Okay.
Travel, I did the 1,100, which is down a couple more $400, because I have to go to convention this year. I didn't go last year, and I have requirements for training hours. But with that 1,100, that's just hotel and the travel. I'm not putting in for any meals or anything, and I didn't allow for any mileage for my district meetings and stuff because I can eat that. They're usually in Missoula anyway, so if I can turn it into a shop after the meeting sort of a day and make it work. So that one didn't change a whole lot. I mean, it's 1,700 less than what. And like I said, the only reason and I know that wages are frozen, but it's a different position. It's not a raise.
So I'm thinking at this point I'll just leave the salaries just how I have it, and then once they decide on what to do there, then I'll change salaries.
Yeah, because it's going to depend all the way around the board probably, but
Yeah, lots of stuff.
But I know to get her to focus and not have to work 2 jobs because she's working at the bar too, that would probably go a long way towards helping and being able to function.
Right. That
Not
makes
that it's
sense.
my job to worry about that.
Right.
Election.
Elections, okay, so 410,600.
Page 3 and 4.
Oh. It's way too easy.
I only know this because it's general fund, so it's
Okay,
to look at
I
the
guess I
report a
could do
lot.
pages, yeah.
You know, because it's easy. I didn't have to go through 500 of them. They were
Also-
pretty much side by side. So
You did a good job on your supplies there.
And so I went back and I looked. The only thing that you need to remember about elections, they are federally mandated. I have to run elections. If something happens and we have to have another election or we have to redo the general, or that money's going to have to come from somewhere, whether I have the election budget or not. 17 years, it has not happened. But
What's gonna happen?
It will happen then.
And that's
I think it will happen. I'm
the only,
truly-
and so I think we can get away with it because it should be about half as expensive. Because you'll notice in my last year's budget, right at June, I mean, I spent almost all 15,000 of my flippin' supplies. And that's because the way that they made it so we have to do the ballots now, I have to make sure that there is a ballot for every potential person that could come in and vote. The inactive people, the people that are gonna move here from Missoula on election day that I can't count or estimate by any. And we had, doesn't sound like a lot, but we had 20, almost 30 people that came in on election day and registered and voted from different. So, I mean, it's stupid, but at least we're not Billings or, even Missoula for that matter, trying to deal with that. But it's the way that they did it. I have to make sure that, because if I were to run out of ballots, we're big time trouble. But I also have to have a ballot for every party then, Republican and Democrat, because the open, you give them both, they vote one, don't vote the other. Whereas the general, everybody's on the ballot, so they don't, the coding's half as much, the ballot layout's half as much, and technically you only need half the ballots because you're not doing two sets, Republican and Democrat.
Right, okay.
So for this year, I should be able to get away with that. And then next, between January and June, the only elections that I should be hospital possibly, and fire departments, little people, little groups, but they reimburse us, and I should have enough envelopes for everybody, so I shouldn't have to get envelopes again. But that's what that is. And then, let's see. Oh, the purchase services line, that's been right at 7,000, but there's a $3,100 that we just paid that I don't anticipate keeping that program. I don't think, as small as we are, I don't think it's worth it. So I'm gonna try to get that reimbursed, and if that gets reimbursed, it'll not only help that one, but then this one can go down. I left it at 7,000 for right now, but that was
For
just,
elections?
yeah.
Yeah, what was that? Maintenance and licensing on election equipment or
Yeah.
something? Mm-hmm.
Um,
And we still want to leave it at 7,000.
just until I find out for sure. I think by the time you guys are done, I emailed the guy yesterday.
So by the time we even have the next work session, or
Yeah.
it's going to be August 12th.
Yeah, so hopefully I will hear from him and I should know something by then whether or not I
Okay.
can change that, take that 3,100 off. Same thing with election or postage. I cut it 1,000 because I don't have any major mailings right now. I'll have to look at that one before the next one though, because, no, I think it's I'm thinking, I don't think it's till the following January. Trying to remember when we have to send out that absentee confirmation, but I think it's the following January, so 18 would be when I have to send that one. So they may still fluctuate in, the upcoming years, but for this particular year, I can probably get away with that. Chris will have to have some overtime because election day and night is all overtime because that's a holiday for us. So,
So I need to budget for a little overtime for you.
which it's
How many
like,
hours?
I put 20 hours just for giggles because if
20 hours of overtime?
Yeah, for Chris, and it comes out to like 321, and that's
Yeah, I
if we
don't-
did the increase. I mean, it's little, but it's enough
I don't know
that.
if I'll even, yeah.
But then the and I
Oh,
had,
see, I already have your fill-in budgeted, just so you know. So I already have, for you,
but I don't think I need as many hours. And on that one, I didn't change a salary for her, so that's
but that's fine, because nobody
Yeah.
has any salary increase yet
Right.
at all. So what I have budgeted right now for you is I have you at one time, somebody else at one FTE,
mhm.
and then I did a fill-in for like $2,037.
Okay, and I probably
So
won't
that
even
should
need.
be plenty.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are occasionally there's trainings where the two of us have to go at the same time,
So you have to get a fill-in, yeah.
and then mostly it's just election help.
So
That-
all you would need for that day would be somebody to just be there to answer the
It's like
phone.
200
and you could probably
and-
handle
And I
that
could do
one.
that.
And
But-
you can do, yeah.
If I don't have anything
Right,
else scheduled.
but the election stuff,
Right,
this
yeah.
has nothing to do with you
No.
personally. It's
No,
just
no, yeah.
there's no way to yeah.
No, I'm just thinking on,
Yeah.
coming in
Well,
and
and
answering.
usually,
the
because
phone
that's
type
like
thing.
Cindy would come up and she would do her commissioner stuff up from my office and answer phones and
Yeah.
stamp documents. Well, you know how to time stamp a doc.
Yeah.
I mean
And I mean, there's possibility,
Yeah.
Cindy would be able to even still do that.
right, and it doesn't happen very often, but there are times, and you have
Yeah.
to kind of
Mm-hmm.
when you
So
only
it's-
have two people, you kind of have to, if one's on vacation and somebody gets sick, I mean, sometimes stuff happens. You can't.
So I've 208 hours. That should be plenty.
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And that should also help cover overtime if she has to work it or when or whatever.
Well, and
So
the
it should be
only
good.
time that overtime would come into play is on that
Election.
election day.
Yeah.
And that's
So that should,
most
I
of
think
that
we're
is
good.
because that entire day from 7 in the morning until whenever we get finished is going to be time and a half because it's a holiday.
Fair enough.
So that's so really, yeah. That's all. I tried to help.
I think you did good.
It's not a big dent, and like I said, I mean,
I think that's
even
right.
next fiscal year shouldn't be a huge election year. We'll have the municipal ones, so next year shouldn't have to go up a lot, but the year after that is another. So like every 2 years, I mean, you're gonna have, I hate to say you're gonna have to, but you're kind of gonna have to be flexible. I mean, on the off years, I don't foresee needing, I just hate to not have the cushion somewhere. But like you said, I mean, that BPA is still kind of tucking, it's still hiding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as I know that there's still cushion somewhere, I'm not quite so. Just because I'm kind of at their mercy. If they say that we have to have one, we have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's all I know.
I think we're missing people. I guess it doesn't matter really for some of them. I guess airport, like I don't see them on here. But it doesn't matter, their
They
budget.
don't get any mails anyway.
Yeah. Good deal. That's our last one, I think, for the day.
Yay. That was painless.
Good.
Anyway.
Well, see, I've been checking off as we go through it.
Me too.
And a lot of these are like 5, one person has 5.
I know.
Like Jen,
I think the only one
me and you.
a lot of them are, yeah. So I think the only one that I see is the airport, but I don't think it's like, also like St. Regis Park.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, they don't need to come.
No.
Doesn't affect
They turn in what,
That's
their
it.
idea, and then you give them what they.
Because
they
it's not,
stay.
we're not giving them anything.